Morning, Raptor Freak. Alexi Otts here. What's going on this morning on a Monday? We had a game last night against the Bulls here in Toronto. We won. It was fantastic. So much to talk about from that game last night. And also preview a game tonight. I've seen the ref crew just now for tonight. It's much better than last night's. And we'll have to see what happens. Can we get the sweep against Chicago in this 2-game series? Beat them here in Toronto and then go to Chicago and beat them the very next night? Well, let's find out. Every single NBA team is playing today because nobody's playing tomorrow because it's election day. And the NBA wants people to vote in the United States. And I think that's fantastic that they did this. But that means all 30 teams are playing tonight, today. And that's pretty cool. There's so many games today. Nameless is here, and he's saying, OG, just what I wanted to see. Yes, and Steady Freddy. Thank you, G. Yes, amazing stuff from Fred. Fred coming back with that neuralizer from Men in Black and just zapping all these haters. These people are like, let me just make you remember or forget what you were just saying. Zap. Oh, yeah, Fred's back to normal. Fred is who Fred is. Steady Freddy, El Frederico, the twin, his twin sitting at courtside. And El Capitan was leading the way last night and doing amazing things for us. Best player on the court yesterday, Fred VanVleet, outplaying DeMar DeRozan. And that is not often that he's able to say that in the battles we've had with DeMar since he's left the Toronto Raptors. Usually DeMar is one of the most alpha players on the court, and they're in charge and they're wheeling and dealing. No, last night it was more Fred's show along with the rest of the guys. And what did we win? Why did we win this game yesterday? Why did we do that? Well, it's because we have overwhelming length and crazy tenacity and energy on defense that just causes the ball to get turned over, and then boom, we're down the court, we're doing stuff. Or maybe we shoot a shot and we miss it. And these guys are just pounding the offensive glass, and there's nothing this other team can do. We definitely overwhelm teams and just kind of say, we're going to take this game by brute force. And there's some amazing stuff in the game last night, a lot of interesting developments. And you know what? I know in your comments, we're going to get to everything. And we'll talk about each and every individual Raptor and different things that they did in this game and all kinds of other great stuff. We could even touch on a little bit. Just real quick, let me get out of the way. 905 played their second game against Capital City Go-Go, and they got beat pretty bad. So it was evened out. They were 1-1 with Capital City Go-Go after 2 games this weekend. It was a tough game. There was some bright spots, nice play from people like Jeff Doughton Jr. and Ron Harper Jr., Reggie Perry, Saban Lee, and then David Johnson making his debut for the season in that game, also getting out there and getting some play. Monique watched the game, kept us updated, and I watched it as myself a little bit, but I didn't watch it as closely as I do the Raptors game, but I did keep track of it. Go-Go came back and played better against us in this one. They have Johnny Davis on that Go-Go team, so it's a pretty damn good G League team that they have a lottery pick playing for their team, a top 10 pick on that team, and we play really well with them. And this is the weird part of the season for 905 where it's showcase, and they're going to play like 16 games or 12 games or something. And the winner of that, the teams with that best record after the showcase period get to play in this tournament. So this is really the preseason. Not really. This is first season, and then there's a second season of 905. So it's interesting what's going on there. Let's see what you guys are saying. Lumpy Rex is here. Good to see you, Lumpy Rex. It's been a little bit. Freddie letting his game do the talking. Yes, very much so. So fantastic. He needed this so bad. He needed to remind people. Why do people have such short memories? Why do people just forget? Like, this is Fred. This is what Fred does. This is what we can expect Fred to do on a lot of nights. Sure, he has dud nights sometimes, but a lot of times he is like this, like what he did last night. And it's fantastic. OG, once again, brilliant with his defense and just being overpowering, just being a very strong person on the court in general ways. That is O.G.Anunoby. Fantastic. Good morning to Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. We appreciate you, Cool Cat. I hope you're having a great Monday morning so far. G saying, even if people don't like Fred's game for whatever reason, they have to appreciate his mentality. He doesn't care what anyone says and doesn't let it get him down. Yes, this is true. Like, he wasn't listening to any of these noise. He said in an interview that I saw yesterday that he's only heard good things from Raptor fans. So He's not listening to y'all. He's like, ever since I've been in Toronto, all I've heard is just love and support from the Raptors fans. Well, Fred, you're not listening to a certain section of them, and I'm glad you aren't because they don't deserve your attention anyway because they're idiots, honestly. Logical Raptors fanatic, go check out his channel. I watched your piece yesterday, Mike, that the latest one you have out, and I really appreciate the shout out you did for my channel on there. Fantastic shout out, and I really like some of the philosophies you're espousing on your channel these days about development and that we're all in development as people in different ways, and we got to allow each other to have chances to get better and do different things. I appreciate that, Mike, and what a great video. I watched it yesterday. I really enjoyed it. All right, let's see what Mike's saying. Fred VanVleet slanderers back in their caves. Yes, they're cowering in the corner, Mike. Like, I have to keep warm now because, the light of day, this Fred VanVleet's awesome, amazing all-star play is shining again, and they have to cower in the darkness. I love it, Mike. I love the image. Six no-nos? Six no-nos. Yeah, the blocks were very interesting, and I was rooting for him to beat Marcus Camby's record because I see that 9 block thing, and I'm like, Marcus, you got 9 blocks a long time ago for the Raptors. I think somebody's coming for that record very soon. I think that it could happen in his rookie year, actually. If you see him get 6 blocks like he did last night, why wouldn't he get 9 or 10 blocks at some point this season? I really do think that will happen. He looked so good in the starting lineup last night, Koloko. Let's look at his stat line real quick first. He is actually one of my 3 stars tonight, Christian Koloko, playing 31 minutes last night. He actually played a lot last night, only had 3 fouls, so he stayed out there. He was a plus 19, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 6 blocks. 4 for 8 from the field, 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Just a great game by Christian Koloko. And let's break down a couple of the things that he did last night that were very interesting. He was actually a passer last night a couple times. He hit OG cutting to the basket for an amazing play, really easy bucket. And that showed like a passing aptitude by Christian Koloko at the top of the key was shown off last night briefly. That is really cool because it's showing that he's a really kind of a complete player in some ways. If he can hit threes and he can pass, he can block shots, he's good near the basket, he's rebounding. That's a really kind of a complete player, especially with his mobility. The other thing that was really cool about him last night, to me, other than the blocks, obviously the blocks were amazing, is that he was doing this weird thing where Fred would lob the ball just kind of up near the basket. And it wasn't that he was dunking or he wasn't even tipping it in. He was guiding the ball. The ball would be right here away from the basket, and he just kind of move it over and drop it into the hoop. He did that like twice last night. And I was like, dude, he's not even dunking it. He's just kind of guiding the ball over, and then it falls into the hoop. And I thought he did that on 2 different plays last night. And I was like, wow, he's not even like, he's just barely moving it over. And it's like, okay, I'll move it so that gravity will do the rest of the work. I'll just move it over and then boop, it just drops through the hoop. But the thing that Christian said after the game in his interview that I loved hearing is that he's realizing in the NBA in his early career, he has to dunk it. And I've been saying this in my head while watching. I'm like, just dunk it, Christian. Quit trying to lay it up or quit trying going up nice because these dudes are hitting you. And he said that basically he needs to dunk it and go up very aggressively and powerfully with force because that is the way the NBA is played. It is different than playing in Arizona and playing on the Wildcats. That he can get away with that against lower talent, but he needs to really be aggressive and just go up strong and just throw it down on motherfuckers. That is how he needs to be when he's close to the basket with those bunnies because he really has the length. Go ahead and just dunk it. So just do it, Christian. I think you will, you're going to do it. And he said it. And he's so brilliant. Like I listened to this man in his interview and I'm like, this dude is really smart. And I totally understand why he's fast tracking how quickly his NBA career is developing right now, because he is really like him and Scotty are sponges and they just soak up everything from everybody, from Otto, from Thad, from Nick, from Earl, from Rico, from Masai, from Bobby. They soak everything up into their brains. And it's not like they even question it or have any kind of process where like, well, should I follow? No, they just blindly follow the leaders and people around them in the Toronto Raptors franchise. And that means they don't have a step where they have to kind of like question things and kind of really learn it. No, they just listen, say, oh, you want me to do it this way? And then they do it right away and they change it like that. That is how smart and quick learners Christian Koloko and Scotty Barnes are. And I love that they're on our team. And everybody's saying it now. How the fuck is Christian Koloko a second round pick? I said that like 2 months ago. And now they're all saying it finally because they see it on the NBA around the league. I mean, Chicago people probably saw this game against their team and they're like, holy shit, we are not ready for the Raptors. That we're seeing something, with the look with them that's different than even last year with Christian Koloko's presence roaming around and garnering 6 blocks. And he did the blocks in different ways. It's like he showed us a variety pack of different kinds of ways you could block people. I'm going to come and get you from behind. I'm going to come and get you from the side. I'll come and get you faced up. Coming straight at me, I'll block you. And it was cool. He had one goaltending call, which is pretty damn good for all of the shot blocking attempts he took, that only one was a goaltending. And it was a goaltending. That was the right call. Let's see what else Mike is saying. The broadcast said at Kanono, we did it, guys. Spamming in the Raptors after game official chat worked. Well, they will steal our things that we say and stuff like that. There's a person in the Facebook group that I'm in, a Raptors Facebook group on Facebook, that made up the term spice and dice for Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, meaning like a spicy pea and bet on yourself. Fred VanVleet, spice and dice. Well, he started putting it all over the place on social media, and Matt Devlin started using it online. He started saying spice and dice, spice and dice. So you can get things through to the broadcast group if we make a big noise about it. Like the one I'm trying to push right now is Mr. 94 Feet. I think that Scotty Barnes deserves that nickname. That Mr. 94 Feet is a great way of showing that he is such a hard worker that he will go from the whole 94 feet covering full court press. It doesn't matter if it's late in the game and coach is saying, now we full court press. No, he'll do it at the beginning of the game. He'll do it in the second quarter. He'll do it in the third quarter. He'll do it in the fourth quarter. And he'll do it to anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Trae Young, Luka Doncic. It doesn't matter who it is. So I'm trying to push the nickname Mr. 94 Feet for Scotty Barnes. So we'll have to see. I've had some success in the past. Now, the Killer Bees didn't take when Bruno and Bebe were on the team. I tried to start this thing called the Brazilian Killer Bees. That didn't work. That was a failed nickname. But one of my nicknames has stuck around, Trebuchet. I was one of the first people that ever said Trebuchet because I saw Chris in the way he shoots his threes. And I said, he looks just like a catapult. And being the wordsmith that I am, I'm playing, card role-playing games like Magic the Gathering. I knew what a trebuchet was, a catapult. And I was like, he looks just like that motion with the shot of a catapult, like with his three. He's like, Chuck. So I was like, it just made sense. It's 3-pointers. His last name's Boucher. I was like, Trey Boucher. It just makes sense in all kinds of ways. It's a 3-pointer by Boucher. And it's also, he looks like a French catapult that is called the trebuchet. And I started putting that out there, and somebody did say it finally on the broadcast. But I was one of the first people that said that too. So it's very interesting how you can curate nicknames. And people have been trying to do this to Scotty all summer on Twitch. They throw like Scotty Too Hottie at him every week. And he's like, not about that. The Scotty Too Hottie nickname is not the right nickname for him. I'm sorry. It's a wrestler named Scott Taylor that does a really stupid wrestling move called the Worm that is just so unrealistic. In fact, it's worse than the People's Elbow by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's like, who the fuck is going to lay there and let you do all this? Like, who's going to sit there and watch you do this? And then you can do a weak ass chop. So Scotty Too Hottie is not the right nickname for Scott Barnes because he was a jobber, first of all. And like, he was kind of whack in some ways, Scotty Too Hottie. All right, let's keep going. Cool Cat saying we are lucky to have one of our young vet leaders to settle the youngins on the floor. Fred VanVleet and Koloko stepping up was a beauty to see. My Pascal would be smiling last night through his tough rehab. Yeah, I didn't see Pascal at the game. I want to think that he's just somewhere, like laying somewhere and just kind of watching the game and smiling real big, like you're saying. One thing about the Raptors last night that I really liked against the Bulls is we had the veteran presence. We seem like the more veteran team, and that's saying something with a team that's got DeMar DeRozan and idiot Dragic running around out there like he did last night. We had Fred, first of all. The El Capitan really was in effect as far as controlling the pace and the tempo and managing the game to help us win by the end of it. They were winning for a good chunk of the game. We came back and we did it the right way. And we actually had a good double-digit lead in parts of the second half. And I was very happy about that because Ed Malloy's presence, and he did do a little fuckery last night. But Nick Nurse was brilliant last night. He went ahead and challenged him within the first couple minutes of the game. And that was actually really, really smart. I knew why he did it. Everybody was wondering, why would he use the challenge so early in the game? Well, you know why? Is because he wanted to cut that shit out right now, right quick, right at the beginning. Let's think about the playoff game against Philadelphia, game 1 this past season. We had 2 fouls on Fred very early, and maybe the ref hip job was coming for Fred right at that moment, and Nick got in the way of that by challenging it and calling Ed Malloy on his bullshit. He said, no, you ain't calling Fred's first foul this early on something that he didn't even fucking do. You're just making a call for DeMar because you honor him as a great pro, and it's a vet call for him. Well, he didn't even touch him, so why would you call that foul, Ed Malloy? You better go look at it. And everybody's like, why would he use the challenge so early in the game? You want to have that for later. Well, this is actually a brilliant way to use the challenge. If a call is so egregious and it's so early in the game, call the referees out on their bullshit, make them go and look at it and say, oh, maybe I did do that wrong, because he saved Fred his first foul early. And he set the tone for how they could call the game after that. It's kind of like, all right, you're not doing this bullshit tonight. We're going to challenge you on it right away. And you need to set the tone for how they will call the game for the rest of the game. And it helped. It totally worked. It was a brilliant challenge. It was successful. It saved Fred his first foul. And it really did help us. I was like, when I saw him do that, I was like, I know why he's doing this. I get it. And Matt Devlin and them were saying, I don't understand why you used it so early. And some people were saying strategy wise, well, there's your strategy. What I just explained to you. He wanted to set the tone with Ed Malloy in his brain and how he's going to call the game. He said, no, you ain't going to do this in this game. And it saved Fred from, maybe he would have gotten a second foul within a minute of that one, and he would not have been available for most of this game. We would have lost because he wasn't out there because he had foul trouble, and we wouldn't have gotten the production we got out of him. So very, very brilliant challenge. Some people may say there was a folly in using it so early, but I don't agree at all. That was a very brilliant challenge, and it was very, very smart. Let's keep going. I think that, the other thing about Fred being out there, and the other thing that I really liked about last night, is how much Otto and Thad played. Thaddeus usually just gets like one stint, and he's just out there, and then he gets back. Never get put back out. And his wife was actually commenting on that last night during the game. He's like, "Oh, Thad gets to go in for a second time." She made a post about it. That's silly. But I mean, yeah, we could use him last night. I mean, it's the Bulls, first of all. And Thad Young and Otto Porter have a history with the Bulls, playing on the Bulls together at the same time. And they're vets. And in some ways, we needed them out there because of Ed Malloy, because of Derek Richardson, that they kind of are respected because they've been around for a while. Like, I saw Fred and Ed Malloy before the game have a little nod and a friendly little back and forth where I'm like, okay, Ed Malloy respects Fred VanVleet. Well, I'm sure they respect Thad Young and Otto Porter also. So playing those two older players on the team more last night was smart because we got veteran respect with the calls. In some ways, they rub off overall on the whole team. And this may be one of the intangibles about Otto Porter being on our team now that people will realize more and more, is that he brings us respect by the officials, and just in ways because he's more of a vet. Last year, we didn't get any respect with calls because we were such a young team. And having a balance of veterans that come in off the bench with our young players is really smart and because they will help the calls go better for us overall. Because that's Otto Porter. He's been in the league, what, 60, 70 years? I mean, no, I mean, Thad Young. And then Otto Porter, he's a champion. He's a good vet who's been around for a long time. Nobody hates him. He's good. He listens to refs. These guys have their respect. They help us in the whole scheme of things with the referees and the calls. And that's why I love seeing him out there. So we had a good vet contingency that was helping us with the refs. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Tom Duke is saying next man up, baby. Winning. That's right. That's the mentality. Some people were like all sad and depressed yesterday on Twitter. They're like, oh, Pascal's out for 2 weeks. Oh, my life is over. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Y'all overreact to everything. This team is like that. We are a chimera. We can chop one of the heads off of the chimera and the next one will grow out and there will be the next person up. Like Tom Duke is saying. I never doubted them. I thought, well, yeah, we don't like having Pascal out for this amount of time, and it's going to suck. But as I said yesterday, it's convenient that this is an easier part of the schedule that he's going to be out, and we may be able to weather this very well, especially if we're going to play like we did last night. Chicago may be one of the toughest teams we play in the recent, coming up. So we got to, we had the opportunity tonight to sweep them in a 2-game series last night and tonight. Let's do this. In fact, I think they're broken to a degree against us. I don't know if they can do a whole lot against some of the things that we're doing. Now, it's Billy Donovan. I've got to respect him as a coach and that he will make adjustments. It could be very similar to what happened with Philadelphia with Doc Rivers when we played that 2-game series near the beginning of the year, that he may come back with a whole different game plan and just be gangbusters and mess us up. One of the things we did last night that was so successful is we contained DeMar DeRozan. We did the same thing to Luka on Friday, but we weren't successful. We did not successfully contain Luka, but we did successfully contain DeMar DeRozan last night. And that was a fantastic achievement. That is DeMar DeRozan. He just did 46 to the Boston Celtics on Friday night. So you go and tell me who has a better defense, Celtics. Raptors or Celtics? Well, you look and see what we did to DeMar last night, and you go ahead and look and see what y'all did to DeMar on Friday. And you tell me who has a better defense. Oh, yeah. G's saying Barnes had a few bad turnovers and was very frustrated with himself. Bet he is watching the tape. He is such a competitor and loves to win. He is such a competitor. And he had 8 for 19. He did miss some shots. He was chucking it at times. I don't like – Scotty has a bad habit of not taking a full – shot motion. Instead, he'll just chuck it. He'll chuck the ball. And that's a bad habit. He can do it and make it to an extent. But at some point, it's not just good fundamentals. So, Scott, really think about your jump shot and shoot it properly. Don't just chuck, because sometimes you will just chuck it. And that's when you miss a lot of the times. He was 8 of 19, 2 of 7 from 3-point range, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 19 points. He did have 2 turnovers, as was mentioned. And that's a 4-to-2 assist to turnover ratio. Fred VanVleet was 11-1. And Scotty got a double-double still, 19 and 10. That's a fantastic game by Scotty, but he is not one of my 3 stars today because, like you said, there were some turnovers. It wasn't totally sharp, but he was very good too. He would have been my 4 star if I could have 4 stars though. Tom Duke is saying Thad rocked. Thad was interesting because he did play 16 minutes. He got 4 points. He had 4 offensive rebounds, 8 rebounds total, 2 assists, 1 steal. Just in general, really on the boards. These guys were really on the boards last night. They were just crashing. Chris Boucher in particular, 6 offensive boards, 8 points, 4 of 10 from the field, 4 offensive boards by OG, 3 offensive boards by Precious, 2 offensive boards by Scotty and Koloko. We were on the boards. We had so many boards compared to them on the offensive boards. And that may have been a big difference is 23 offensive rebounds to their 15. We out-rebounded them 52-46 overall. So the boards work. That may have been a huge key to why we won last night. It's just how much we were all over the boards and getting second chance shots and just crazy attempts. That's another thing is we got 103 field goal attempts to their 88. And that's crazy. That's how many is that? That's 15 more field goal attempts for the whole entire game than the other team. That will help you win. if you can get that many more attempts over the other team. Because we didn't shoot better than them. They shot better than us in all three categories. They shot better than us at the field goals, the three-pointers, and the free throw line. And usually they do shoot better, but we still found a way to win. So how is that? They can shoot way better than us, and we still have a very dominant win by the end of the game. Well, it's because our brand of basketball doesn't need to shoot well. Our brand of basketball is just club you over the head incessantly until you fall down. So good. So good. Logical saying, salute, real ones. Project Truth. Real ones, Project Truth. All right, let me see what that is saying. Is full swing and Fred VanVleet making it easy? Yeah, Project Truth. I like the idea of this. This is an interesting idea. Project Truth about Fred. And Fred was making it easy for us to say good things about him and shut these haters up. I love one of the phenomena about this is when Fred comes up and shows up, Raptors Twitter goes crazy. And they go after all the people who said shit in the last week and they find them. They go and see the receipts and they go after them. And this is what's right. It's kind of just. It's like kind of like, oh, yeah, you're going to say this. Well, your receipt is on your Twitter page. And here comes Raptors Twitter. They easily see what you said and they're going to come and set you straight because Fred's back. And it's real easy to make our points about how good he is when he's doing what he did last night and making you look stupid with your dumbass slanderous tweet from last week. Yeah, there was a little bit of that going on last night. And you Fred stands going after them. You go. You are my people that you remember and you come back and you show, you say, we see your receipts here and we're going to let you know how wrong you were and we'll burn you a little bit. You go, Raptors Twitter. I love y'all. Sue saying, good morning, everyone. Gutsy win last night. It was a little scary, like I said, setting up the game yesterday with Ed Malloy being involved. I was like, this looks like a ref hit job. And there's certain things that Ed Malloy did last night that were kind of fucked up. He was doing a little bit of ref manipulation. In particular, at one point in the game, we were getting so much physicality on our end of the court with their defense that they weren't calling anything. They were hitting us. They were slamming us. And meanwhile, on the other end of the court, they were doing touch fouls on us. So there really was that bias in the meat of the middle of the game where they were just letting them hammer us near the basket and there were no foul calls. And meanwhile, we would do little touch plays like Chris Boucher would just barely touch someone and they'd call a foul. So there was the ref manipulation from last night that was the worst, was the unfairness of physicality allowed at one end of the court compared to our end of the court. That was definitely happening last night. And then the way that was part of the way they were trying to help Chicago win is they weren't calling any fouls for them, hitting the shit out of us. Meanwhile, we were getting touch fouls on the other end. And I caught that. And then also another one that Ed Malloy did was he did the walking into the lane during the free throw shot manipulation. That's very, very subtle. He did it to Fred when Fred got the 4 free throws. Remember, DeMar fouled him on the 3-point shot. And then DeMar got upset because he didn't think it was a foul and he got a technical. Well, that turned into 4 free throws straight for Fred. And on one of the first free throws, Ed Malloy walked into the lane while he was in his shooting motion. And it didn't fuck up Fred. He made the shot still. But that is a very insidious, on the down low kind of way that a referee will kind of try and point shave or hurt a team, is by distracting them by walking right in the middle lane. If it's a lane violation, if a player does it, why can a referee just walk right out in the lane while he's still coming up with the shot? Because in some free throw shooters, that would completely throw them off, having somebody come in right there and distract them. Well, Fred expected it, and that's an Ed Malloy move. I've seen him do this in the last few years, and it pisses me off because I think it is very much a very on purpose kind of move to try and hurt teams for missing free throws, is getting in the lane like that to distract. So that's your ref manipulation kind of segment for last night. Those were the two things that were really most apparent about how they kind of were doing shady shit. But, you know, Ed Malloy was actually pretty fair, and he did show some favor to us at times. And I could tell that, you know, like I said earlier, Otto Porter Jr., Thad Young, Fred VanVleet, they're veterans, and they got some respect from him. And that showed. Brandon Schwab was an idiot. I hated him. Derek Richardson was good. He was a pretty good ref last night. He wasn't too bad. But this is good. We got our record up with all three of them, and then we didn't have the best record with them. Well, let's look at the referees tonight already. Our ref crew tonight is much better. We have Eric Lewis as our crew chief. Eric Lewis, we've seen him already this early season. I think it was a preseason game we saw him. He's from Daytona Beach. He's in his 20th season as an NBA ref. His favorite TV show is Martin. Martin. His favorite meal is lasagna. Yeah, see, he's the lasagna guy. You guys know lasagna guy. Our win-loss record with him is we win 49.3% of the games when he referees. So he's not a very good ref for us. But Chicago has an even worse winning percentage when he referees, 46.7. So Eric Lewis kind of favors us. The second referee is Jason Goebel. We've seen Jason Goebel recently also. In fact, I think they may have been together in the other ref crew that we saw. He's the Miami ref that likes The Godfather, and he likes veal parmesan. He's another guy who likes Italian food. His favorite app is Netflix, and his bucket list is to roll his own cigar in Cuba. Jason Goebel is the better Goebel brother of the two Goebels. I think. Yeah, Jason's the better one, I think. Or is John the better one? Who's the better Goebel? There's two Goebels. One's good and one's bad. I think he's the better one. I think Jason's the better one. John Goebel's the worst one. Yeah, John Goebel's the worst one. Jason Goebel's the good one. 56.3% win percentage for the Raptors when Jason Goebel's refereeing. But the Chicago Bulls have a 62.5 win percentage when Jason's there. So he does kind of favor the Bulls historically. So we'll have to watch out for him, the middle ref. Even though he's the nicest ref to us, he's even nicer to the Bulls. The last ref is another young ref that hasn't refereed a lot, and it is John Butler. We've seen John Butler recently. Also, it's like we've seen all these refs have refereed the Raptors in the last month or so. John Butler's record with us is 33.3%. In fact, John just refereed a game that we won, so that came up. We had a worse percentage under him. We're 2-4 when he referees. Now, when the Bulls play, they're 1-4, so they have an even worse record. They're a 200 percentage with him. So two of the refs, we have good win percentages compared to the Bulls. That's Eric Lewis and John Butler. And then Jason Goebel is our favorite ref that has favored us the most, but he actually favors the Bulls even more. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. John Butler likes rice and beans, red beans and rice. And his favorite musician is Jay-Z. Oh, and his favorite movie is Do the Right Thing, guys. We were just talking about that movie yesterday. So there's your ref crew for tonight. Eric Lewis, Jason Goebel, and John Butler. A young ref and two, okay refs. It's not as bad as yesterday. I think this will be a pretty fair game, and this is good because we're going to be in Chicago tonight. Yeah. Naco the Nacho is saying we are going to have to get Koloko to the starting lineup eventually. I don't think there's any second rounders playing better than him. Fred VanVleet and OG were our best. Yeah, those are my two stars of the game with Koloko. Those are the three stars. Fred, number 1, OG, number 2, and Koloko, number 3, for having his best play so far, Koloko. And then obviously Freddie for being Freddie and doing what Freddie does. I mean, what did we see by Fred last night? We saw a little bit of everything. We saw these crazy moonshot threes. We saw him setting people up. Did you see at one point he had that really quick pass down into the low post for Scotty? It's almost like he was doing like, yeah, this is what you've been doing. I've seen it on the bench. Well, I can do it too, Raptor fans. You think that Scotty's the only one who can do a quick pinpoint pass through traffic? Well, I can do that too. So Fred did that at one point in the game yesterday where he threw the ball right through all the Chicago defenders and laser point accuracy hit Scotty right near the basket. That's fantastic. Fred can pass. Y'all forget he's a point guard. He knows how to pass. Mike talked about this. He played shooting guard next to Kyle Lowry because he wanted to be in the lineup with Kyle Lowry, so he became more of a shooting guard. But historically, Fred has always just been a point guard. And, there's a weird thing about why does it have to be Scotty versus Fred as far as who's a point guard? Why can't we just play them on the court and just know that we have two different guys that can do point guard kind of stuff as options at any time? It's the versatility of it. It's like we pigeonhole everybody and say, this is just your box. You're just a point guard. This is all you can do. We can't have that kind of mindset with the Raptors. And I'm sure they don't have it internally on their team with the coach. It's like they're not thinking, okay, you're just a point guard, Fred. Nobody else can be the point guard. That shit isn't kind of happening. It's really kind of the roles may morph from night to night on the matchup and how things are going with certain players. Then it may be the point guard is more Scotty on certain nights and Fred is taking more shots. But then in the next game, it could be Freddie is more the assist man and Scotty is taking more shots. So we just need to allow for versatility and flexibility to what our guys are and what their roles are. And that being too hung up on the traditional 5 positions and saying, well, this is our one for sure. It's stupid. Why is it necessary? We just put our best players on the court, let them play, and they'll do the roles that are needed in the moment for what is needed at that time. And it's just good to have different players on our team that overlap different skills so that they can maybe focus on certain skills in certain games, like OG with his defense. But then in the next night, okay, OG needs to focus on making more threes or going to the basket. I love that we have these players with such skill sets. So please, Raptors fans, stop pigeonholing our guys and stop saying that, oh, well, we need to choose between who's going to be the point guard between Scotty and Freddie. We don't need to make this decision. There's no reason for us to have to make this decision and say, oh, this is our point guard and the other one needs to be banished. That's silly. That's crazy stuff. That's what the Fred VanVleet slanderers were saying this week. So, yeah, we ain't about that. No, we aren't. Guardian Transit saying, oh, Koloko. Oh, way down on Koloko. Aruba, Bahamas. Come on, pretty mamas. Key Largo, Montego, Koloko. Young man was a beast. Young man was doing it. He was doing it. He was everywhere. He made all them think twice. I think that Alex Caruso had bad nightmares about him last night. He went to sleep on the plane coming back to Chicago, and he's like, no, Koloko, no. He was like that. It's like Caruso in particular, he shot so bad last night. I'm amazed at how bad he shot last night. He was 1 of 11, 0 for 6 from three-point range, 4 points. He did have a double-double, though, y'all. He had 4 points. He still had a double-double, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. That's an insane player. But, it was Koloko tormenting people like Alex Caruso and Patrick Williams in particular. Patrick Williams got some really bad blocks on him from Koloko. He made everybody second guess doing anything around the basket. He definitely was a huge factor. There's stuff that just doesn't show up in the box score about Koloko that he adds to our team. And Fred said it after the game. He's like, it's just so nice to have this lob threat that we haven't had in so long. And that there's so many things that he adds to our team that aren't skills that are overlapped in what I was talking about earlier. These are new skills that we've needed for a couple of years now. And now we've got them. It's just so badass. It feels so good. It's kind of like the Bulls fans and the Bulls media, Chuck Swirsky, are probably like, holy crap. The Raptors finally got that 7-foot center, that rim protector that they've been wanting for the last couple of years. And he is legit. And he is for real. Yeah. GSAN NBA Instagram had 3 Raptors posts last night. Yeah, they were actually putting us on blast on the main level. And it was interesting because there's respect in the comments. You can go look at those posts, and most people are putting respect on us. They're not slandering us. They're not saying, oh, the Raptors are fake. Oh, they're not going anywhere. They believe, and they're starting to understand that we're for real. And that's why they're putting us on south of the border. And this is really good. Andrew Bishop saying he had a good post-game interview. He's so well-spoken, Koloko. He's just really well-spoken, and he's really smart. I can tell he's so smart. Like, it's not just like he's a smart basketball player. Like, there's something about basketball IQ intelligence. He's just a smart person in general. Like just a nerd. He's a nerd, y'all. Like when he was in school, he had to be a grade plus A plus student. He had to have a 4.0 GPA. He was that kind of dude. And so apply that kind of mindset of a student in school to him learning in the NBA as a big, huge second round center. That's why he is who he is. He's an overachiever. He's an overachiever. This dude had to do everything perfect when he was a kid. And it's showing now because he has to do everything perfect in the NBA. And that is very important to him, extremely important to Christian Koloko. But very good interview. I agree, Andrew. I really like how well spoken he is. He did like 7.5 minutes for his interview also. I know the French part kind of extends things. Like Pascal and Chris and Koloko will get longer interviews just because there's French interviewers that will come in. But he still did a 7.5 minute interview, and that's way longer than, Fred. Gary will do like 2 minutes. Scotty will do like 3 or 4. OG, you're lucky if you get 3 minutes out of him. And meanwhile, Koloko's sitting there and talking to them for almost 8 minutes. Evelyn's saying, good morning. Our starters are really great and strong. Koloko Loco. Woo, woo. Scotty calls them Kolokes. At one time during the game last night, I called them Kolokes. And Adriana was like, why'd you call them Kolokes? And I said, well, Scotty calls them Kolokes. When we watch the highlights of the games back, Scotty will get on there and he said, go on, Kolokes. You go, Kolokes. So it's a Scotty Barnes nickname for him, Kolokes. Koloko Loco. I love it, Evelyn. So happy to see you this morning. I hope you're having a great morning this morning, basking in the victory. And hopefully we'll get the second one tonight. Cool Cat saying Koloko is getting the same kind of rookie development like Scotty. Best way to fast track his development. I don't want us to take away his good 3-point shooting, light touch, complete player. Yeah, he got a 3-pointer last night and he missed it, but he did. It'll come. He's got the skills. We've seen him at the top of the key. He can hit the three. Very consistently. He was shooting from kind of the corner when he took the one, and it kind of missed. It was from kind of the elbow, not from the top. But yeah, I think that you're right. That one thing about the Raptors team is we really could be young, but we are really developing people exponentially fast, like expediting them. Like Delano Banton in particular, Scotty Barnes, Precious, Gary Trent Jr., Koloko, these guys have all changed as players as soon as they stepped onto the team, the roster of the Raptors. They've gotten so much better so quickly. And it's just a testament to our development team. And, people like Rico Hines showing up and being around, like I love seeing Rico back there. And I've seen him more and more interacting with the players. And I totally understand how he's helping us. The other thing that I wonder about with Rico is these games that are close and kind of crazy. I wonder if they do let him do like little inspirational pep talks from time to time. Like I see him talking to the players, and maybe he is doing stuff during the game where he's saying he just has a little insight. He says, Chris, if you go and get in that position down there, they will foul you and you will get to the line. This is what we need you to do right now. Or he's like, maybe Scotty, you need to press it. You need to be aggressive. You need to go to the basket. You go, young man. It's your time. There's going to be so many different ways Rico Hines could just like be adding something from the backbench, taking one player aside and saying one little thing to them. And all of a sudden they do something on the court from what he said, and boom, it helps. I think that his presence is actually helping us in that way. Forget about all the Earl Watson, Adrian Griffin, Nate Bjorngren front bench with Nick Nurse. He may be taking people secondary in the back and just motivating them and observations in the game and just saying one little thing. I've seen that this is happening out there. If you just do this a little bit differently, you're going to get this result. And that may be part of what's happening too, is a brain trust on how to execute and be successful by the end of the game has expanded with Rico Hines' presence. It's really interesting. Let's see. Mike saying Masai is the drafting cheat code. It's true. It's not even fair. I mean, seriously, it's like, they used to say hammer don't hurt them. Masai don't hurt them. You're just too overpowering. It's not fair. You're like Goldberg in WCW when he first came in. Dun, 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 dun. You're just unstoppable. You're undefeated. You have a win streak. Because your win streak on making decisions with draft picks and trades and everything are just like every 100% out the park. Yeah, Masai is a cheat code. I agree with this, Mike. I love that statement. Nako saying it is fucking wild that 29 teams passed on what is one of the most coveted type of player in the NBA, a quick 7-footer who's great at passing. Yeah, I don't understand this. I really don't understand this. How did we do this? Did we have him in a Harry Potter invisibility cloak machine or something for the longest time? I know that when we were previewing and getting ready for the draft this summer, he was in the conversation. We were talking about Ismail Kamagate. We talked about like Kofi Coburn. We talked about all these big men. We were comparing them. And at that point, I was kind of like, Koloko looks kind of like the same as these other two guys. And there may not be that much difference. Well, there is. There's a huge difference. And, you know, the telltale sign of who we were going to take was there all along. And we should have just knew that him being from the same city as Pascal Siakam was a real signal that he probably will come to Toronto. Brilliant, brilliant move. And you're right, Nako. This is the type of player that every single other NBA team would covet to have. It doesn't matter if they have players like that or on their team. They would want this guy to add to it. That every single team wants a player like Christian Koloko. So what the fuck happened? Bobby Webster, you're a G. You are a G. You are a gangster. That you were able to do this and get him at that time and that pick. Like, I was mad when they picked Caleb Houston. The pick before us, Orlando, was like, damn, they took Scotty's buddy from Montverde. And I'm like, man, I wanted to really get him to pair with Scotty so he can have his buddy with him on the team. Well, let's do that even better. Let's get Pascal's hometown buddy. And he's this kind of guy. Yeah, they're going to all feel like they fucked up in the years to come when it comes to Koloko. We called it right after it happened this summer. It was like we saw him in Summer League and we're like, dude, everybody's going to say they fucked up, that this guy fell through the first round. And it's really coming to apparent already early in the NBA season on the main roster in the main games. And, you know, Nick Nurse may have said he expects to put Koloko on the 905 team from time to time, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen. He may just be this crazy second rounder that does never have to play in the G League because he's that good and he's that necessary and needed on the main roster already. I want to see him play on the 905, and he probably will at some point. He just needs to go down there just to get some time down there. And who knows, he may have some crazy stat line for Raptors 905 that we see him go down there, and he may get like a 30 to 40 point game with like 20 rebounds and like 10 blocks or something like that. It could be very crazy. So, yeah, Koloko, what are y'all thinking, NBA? Where were you? Where was Fran Fraschilla and Jay Billis? Why weren't they telling y'all about Koloko? Yes. We are so awesome. G saying Golden State fans are asking why they didn't grab Koloko. I know, they're all asking it. They're probably all wondering this. New York Knicks, everybody's being like, what the fuck? How did this happen? The Boston Celtics are probably like, we should have got Koloko. They're all saying that about Scotty too. They're like, man, we should have got Scotty. Why are we not getting these generational talents, these crazy packages? Paul B saying just Koloko. Yes, this is the Koloko show now. G saying, I honestly do not understand how Koloko went so late in the draft. I don't either. It's like, seriously, what were they thinking? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's a lot of guys in the first round that aren't anywhere near as good as Koloko. Seriously, they're not even showing anything yet. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. We'll just not question it and just be so happy that we're the ones who enjoy it and have the benefits of having Koloko. Mike saying, massive facts. Trey Boucher is so perfect. I love that one. Not gonna lie. Yeah, it just makes sense. Like, it's that he kind of chucks it like Scotty too, or he used to worse. He's changed his mechanics on his shot over the last couple years, Chris, because it really was a chuck. But now it's got a little bit of a smooth, and there's a little bit more rotation on the ball, and it's not this crazy weird side to side rotation like a globe. I don't know how he does that and makes it, like how he spins it this way, and it's going woo woo woo. It doesn't go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It goes woo. Woo. I don't know how he gets a horizontal spin on a jump shot like that, Chris, sometimes. But it is an awesome nickname for him. I agree. There's a couple of different things about it that's so awesome about it. All right, let's keep going. Monique is here. Good to see Raptors super fan Monique. Love you, Monique. Love our schedule in the coming days. It's going to be fun. Lots of games this week. Lots of enjoyment. Lots of time to see the Raptors on the court. Chicago today. Houston on Wednesday. Oklahoma City Friday. Indiana on Sunday. And then Detroit Pistons next Monday, baby. Next week, we got to go to Detroit and play the Pistons for the first game against them this week season. So lots of games to look forward to. Let's get the second one against Chicago tonight, one game at a time. We stay in the present moment and we take care of business that's ahead of us, and don't get ahead of ourselves too much in our heads, because that NBA schedule can be very overwhelming and daunting if you try and get ahead of yourself. So you really want to stay present moment, stay in the present, and just look at what's right in front of you right at this moment. We ain't thinking about Houston yet. We ain't thinking about Oklahoma City, Detroit. We're thinking about Chicago one more time tonight. And let's see how Billy Donovan does adjustments and tries to change things from happening exactly the same as last night to his team in Chicago tonight. We'll have to see how it goes. GMAG84 is saying Scotty Roy is better. Now, Scotty Roy is a great nickname, but Scotty doesn't want that to be his nickname. You can call him Scotty Roy for now, but after this season, when there's a new rookie of the year, he will not be Scotty Roy. In fact, he doesn't want us to call him a rookie at all. He doesn't really want that rookie of the year moniker to follow him right now. He's a second-year player. It's very made that clear this summer. He's like, look, guys, I'm not a rookie anymore. I'm a second-year player. Don't call me Roy anymore. So he's rejected that nickname himself also. And he likes Big Four. Big Four is the one he's really like the most like warm to. But Scotty Roy was fine for him campaigning to get the Rookie of the Year. Matt Devlin was calling it all last year to help him get the Rookie of the Year. But at this point, he's outgrown it. And he says that was year one. That's a year one nickname. And that's not a nickname for me going forward. He said that personally. He said that himself on his stream. So he really is a second year vet. That's what we kept saying. He's like, you're not like even like a second year young player. You're already a veteran. You're a second year vet. How many people in the NBA can say they're a veteran in their second year? Not many. Not many can be considered veterans in their second year. So that's the problem with Scotty Roy, is that he doesn't want to have the Roy part anymore, because Rookie of the Year is the past. That's last year. He's building the new stuff. Maybe this year he's Scotty All-Star. Scotty All-Star. We'll call him a Scotty All-Star, or Scotty Defensive Player of the defensive team or something. G saying love that challenge. Very smart. It was a gamble and it was early, but this is the thing. These referees will try and set the tone early. And Nick Nurse literally challenged how they were going to referee the game at the very beginning. And it was smart. It was so brilliant. And, you know, most people probably were like, why is he wasting it so early? No. And I want to do a Sunday special report next summer about challenges and when it is smart to use them and maybe when it's not. And this is kind of the kind of stuff I will talk about in it. Like sometimes it's good to do a challenge at the very beginning of the game to set the tone of the refereeing for the whole entire game. And then you save your captain from getting his first foul. And maybe he gets another foul immediately after that. And boom, that totally changes the outcome of the game. So that challenge may have been one of the most crucial plays, the crucial decisions that Nick Nurse made last night, and any of the decisions he made about the game last night was the challenge. Mike saying Nurse is a coaching guru. It's so clear, not going to lie, and people are on him about minutes when he clearly knows what he's doing. You know, I only get on to him for the minutes. Like, these guys can play a lot of minutes like they did last night. Let's look at the Raptors' minutes last night. 40 minutes for young Scott Wayne, 39 for Fred after missing so many games, and he came back and played major minutes, 38 for OG, and 31 minutes for Koloko. Those are the only guys who got 30-plus minutes. And the thing about it is, I don't mind Fred playing 39 minutes. I don't mind Scotty playing 40 minutes. It's just I don't want to get to any point in the game where I feel like Nick Nurse has not made a substitution in over 5 minutes. Like when there's long periods in the third quarter, like sometimes he'll do this. He'll have the starters start the third quarter, and then he'll play them to almost 10 minutes into the third quarter. And I'm like, these guys are exhausted. And you blow their energy for the fourth quarter by overplaying them in the third. He doesn't sub quick enough sometimes. That's the problem I have. Now, he's subbing guys quick in replenishing, and guys are coming in and out quickly. Then I have no problem with guys having a lot of minutes because he's hiding them getting exhausted. It's just those moments when I see this whole team is gassed because you let them out there for such a long period with no substitutions, Nick Nurse. So he's got to continually cascade replenishing energy on the court for our system to work its best by having guys come in constantly like Precious, Chris, Delano, Thad Young, Otto Porter. Boom. Now you come back in with Gary again, come back in with OG again, come back in with Scotty. It's just when he has these long periods where he plays them too long without subbing, that's when I get pissed. There's no reason for you to go 5 minutes without substituting someone at any point in the game. I'll say at the beginning of the game, sure, go ahead and play your starters for the first 6-7 minutes of the game, but you should be making subs at that point and really starting your cascading schedule of rotating the different guys, the starters with the bench guys. And that's why I like what he's done better. The only game I had a huge problem with was Brooklyn. is that Brooklyn loss. He overplayed the starters for too long in the third quarter. But since then, he's really replenished and kept it like more flexible and working well. As far as the energy looks great. You see the energy on the court expended at all times is at a high level. And that is the sign of it. If you see guys standing like, at the free throw line, or they're bending over, they look absolutely gassed, and he's fucking up, is basically what I'll say. So as long as they all look like the energy is just staying up, because you got Otto, bring Otto in. He can spell these dudes, and you just keep the good defensive effort, that intensity that is that people hate playing against. The other teams hate playing against the Raptors because of their intensity, their physicalness, their aggression, their quickness, their relentlessness. Well, you can't be that if all your guys are gassed. So bring in Thaddeus, bring in Otto, and those guys will keep that level up while you guys get a little rest, and then bring them back in. That's all I'm asking for with that. So I appreciate your comment, Mike, and I think he is a coaching guru. There's a lot of different reasons why he's a coaching guru. Whether it's his experimentation, his fearlessness with trying things that maybe other people wouldn't have the guts to try. That's Nick Nurse. Nako's saying, I remember the first Philly game. The refs were being particularly bad. I'm partial to Scotty LeBarnes. Scotty LeBarnes. Is that kind of like because of LeBron? My favorite one, the original one that I came up for Scotty, and I tried it, and he did not react to it. I don't even think he read it. Maybe he did. He's like, yeah, this is stupid. Was the Barnstormer. I wanted him to be Baron von Barnstormer. Scotty, the Red Baron von Barnstormer. We wear red, and he's such a fly kind of guy. Like, he flies in and dunks. So like a barnstormer is somebody who flies a plane through barns, and they go, and like, I feel like that's such a fun thing. And then the Red Baron was a ace pilot that shot down allies in the World War II or one. It was one of those world wars. But he was really respected by the other side because he was so good. He was a gentleman. So that kind of plays on the whole thing about him playing for Canada's team. And it's kind of like an enemy team, but they really respect him and like him. So I was like thinking the Red Baron, Baron von Barnstormer, Scotty von Barnstormer. That was my nickname for him at the beginning of the season last year, but it didn't take. Maybe there's still some time for it. The Barnstormer. I don't know. It's, they're all different. Cool Cat saying, yep, I agree with the challenge. Set the tone of the game with the ref. It sends the message, we are watching you closely. That's right, Malloy. We were watching you. We had Raptor freaks on the street in Toronto following you. Mason Culligan saying, best win of the year so far. This is just a preview of, holy crap. Hang on, guys. I got a big wasp in my house. I need to get it because my girlfriend's here and I don't want her to get stung. So let me go get this wasp real quick. And I'm going to try and get it without killing it. Don't sting me. Oh my gosh. Sorry about this, y'all. This is a big deal. Where did it get into the house? This is weird. Okay, I need a piece of it. Holy crap. Adriana, will you open the back door for me? A giant wasp in here. There's a wasp in the house. I want to get him outside. I don't want him to sting you. Crap. Come on, man. I'm trying to help you. All right. Oh, crap. I didn't get him. What? Just open the back door. Shit. This isn't going so well as far as getting him. All right. I got him. Oh, crap. He got out. Ah! This is crazy, y'all. I'm sorry I'm off camera right now. I just got to get this wasp. It's a giant wasp in my house. All right, I trapped him in this cup. This thing, if you ever have to get a wasp, this is how you do it. I'll be right back, y'all. I'm going to just put it outside. Did you open the door? Thanks, baby. No problem. All right, he's out. Woo! All right, let me get back on the stream. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Woo, dangerous. It was like this big. It's huge. She's here. I don't have a big apartment. I can't afford to let that thing sting her. All right. Catch my breath. Back. I apologize for the interruption. WASP emergency. I don't know how it got in the house. I don't have windows open or anything. It's very weird. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Okay, Mason was saying best win of the year. So far, this is just a preview of this team when they're on a roll. Both ends, OG stepped it up this year on defense. Also, like I said last year, we needed a center and Koloko. Yeah, OG. All right, let's talk about OG last night. OG was really strong and powerful once again. We saw him do some really cool dunks. Like that breakaway dunk when he did the reverse was really cool. And some people on Twitter were trying to say that's the most personality OG's ever shown. I think that was Alex Wong. He said something like, that's the most personality OG has ever shown in his life on an NBA court when he did this little reverse breakaway. That's fantastic. He had a few dunks. You know, our Raptors were going to the basket very aggressive last night and getting very easy dunks. Like there was a little bit for Chicago on our side too, where we gave up easy dunks at times that pissed me off late in the game. Where it's like, where's the defense? These dudes just went up and just dunked it. Well, we were doing that to them on the other end of the court too at times, where OG would just get the ball loose and he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to go to the basket and jam it on them. And I love seeing that. There was one play late in the game where we had like 4 or 5 offensive rebounds. Thad took like 2 shots and missed both of them. I think Precious took a shot. And then OG just came and swooped in. He said, I'll do it my damn self. Y'all aren't going to make it. He went and grabbed the last offensive rebound and he put it in for sure. And yeah, that was fun. OG was very good last night. I really enjoyed his game. 10 for 19, 2 for 5 from threes, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. 22 points. He was a plus 24, and he had 3 steals once again. Not the 5 steals that we're used to recently, but he is leading the NBA in steals right now, averaging over 3 steals a game. And there's some stats on this that are out recently that somebody has not averaged 3 steals a game for many years in the NBA. So if he can keep this up the whole season and end up averaging 3 steals a game by the end of the year, that will really make a good case for him to possibly be the defensive player of the year and really win what he's talking about, what he wants to win this season. So keep going, OG. You're fantastic. And I love, this is the thing about him. He looks clunky. He looks clumsy. He looks awkward, but he's strong and he is very purposeful and he knows what he's doing and he means what he's doing. And that's the best thing about him. I've heard some great compliments about his jump shot recently by opposing commentators, that he just has a very nice shot. It's very set. Derek Harper himself was going on about his jump shot on Friday night in the Dallas game, that OG just has a very pretty shot, that nice rotation on it, and just very fundamentally good. That's why it looks the way it does when it goes in, whether it's the 3-pointer or a mid-range. He just measures it very well, and it just looks so nice. It's textbook. And that's why real ones like Derek Harper recognize that and appreciate the work that OG's put into his jump shot. But yeah, it was a great game by OG last night. I'm glad you brought him up, Mason Culligan. Leslie's saying, good morning, freaks. Fred and Koloko were big factors in our win yesterday. How was the game? Did you enjoy the game, celebrating your anniversary? I'm sure you had a fantastic time last night, Leslie. What a joyous time to have an anniversary at the game, seeing such a fantastic game. I bet y'all booed Goran. Now let's talk about Goran just a little bit. Goran played really well last night, but he did the again. He did that. You know, we can boo you, Goran. We booed you before you even played for us. We booed you because you did dirty shots to Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan in playoff series years ago with Miami. Doug Smith's like, why are y'all still booing Goran Dragic? Like, this guy's kind of lame. Why are you doing it still? Doug, you're an idiot. You're a journalist. You don't understand a fan. You don't look at it from a fan's perspective. Sure, you've been around the Raptors since the beginning, and in some ways you have an affinity for the team, but you're a journalist, and you think in a certain way. Well, we think in a certain way too. Now, this is a hockey town. We live in Toronto. This is the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs have had players that they've played against over the years that have been goons, people that we've hated because they played dirty against our hockey players. Did they forget who these dirty players were on the Canadiens or the Senators or the Flyers or the Bruins or the Red Wings? No. Raptors fans are just like Maple Leaf fans. There are enforcers and dirty players in the NHL that people don't forget and they hate. Well, this is what Goran Dragic is. He's just like whatchamacallit, fucking Donald Brashear. A Donald Brashear. You want to understand why we don't like Goran Dragic, Doug Smith? Well, he's a Donald Brashear. If you need it in hockey terms, there you go. There's players that are goons, players that are just, they suck. And that's why fans hate them. And Goran Dragic is one of those. So if hockey fans can hate goons and dirty players on other hockey teams for years, not give it up, boo them and hate them for their whole career, why can't we do that in basketball? There ain't nothing wrong with how the Raptors fans are treating Goran Dragic. Y'all just give it up. We can do this. We have multiple reasons to hate Goran Dragic. And some people say, well, it's petty and it looks like he's inside our heads when we do it. No. Don't you understand that at basketball games, sporting events, half of it is crowd participation and having fun, whether it's cheering and rooting in a positive way or having the fun to boo the referees or to boo players that you don't like? That is part of the fun of the expression of it. I know it's not classically Canadian. I remember back in the day, the early Raptor games, everybody sat there. They didn't know how to cheer the team. They were very quiet. It was like they were watching dinner theater. They didn't know how to cheer the team at the time. They were like polite Canadians. Oh, well, I know some people still have that mindset that they think, oh, this is how it should be because it's Canada. We're Canadians and we hold ourselves a certain way. Well, this is sports, motherfucker. This is the NBA. This is the Toronto Raptors, and people are passionate and they care about it. So what's wrong with booing Goran Dragic? There's nothing wrong with it. So anybody who shames Raptor fans for booing Goran Dragic or even says, like, what's the point at this point? He's gone. Everything worked out. No, fuck you, motherfucker. This has to do with accrued enmity that has gone on for years and years. This is from 2015, y'all. This is what I'm saying. I don't forget. I'm a Raptor freak. I've been involved with this team since the beginning. I don't forget the shit that happened back in the day with Marcus Camby and Butch Carter. I don't forget the shit that happened with Vince Carter and his exit. I don't forget the shit with the decision and Chris Bosh going down there. I don't forget the dirty shit that Goran Dragic did to Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan in playoff games in around 2015, 2016. So understand that the reason why we boo him isn't totally just because of his experience on the team last year. He was a flake then. He said, I'm going to be professional for this team. You weren't for fucking professional. You took off when you were like not being used in the way you wanted to be. So you just left. You could have been more of a mentor to young Scott Wayne during the season last year, but you decided to go home. So don't give me this bullshit about you being professional or higher aspirations. What are your fucking higher aspirations? Yeah, you see what happened with your team last night. Every time you shush us, Goran Dragic, you lose. You're 0-2. I was at the first game where you did that shit to us. I was one of those people booing you that Brooklyn game last year when you came back after a back-to-back. A home at home where Brooklyn played against us in Brooklyn first. We beat your ass there. And then we came back here to Toronto and beat your ass here the next night. So it's like, you go ahead and shush us. When we boo you, Goran Dragic, you get a loss is what you get when that happens. And I have no problem with the Raptor fans booing him every time he holds the ball. I love it, actually. It shows that we are passionate. We don't forget and we care about our team and we don't like our enemies. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a passionate fan. You don't have to be on the level of us, Raptor freaks. You can be, different levels of fandom. But there's nothing wrong with this. Don't cut us down for expressing ourselves and being like this. Some people are saying, oh, he's inside our head. No, he's just out there playing still. If he retires, he won't be in our head anymore. It's just we see him. He's on the court. He's hitting threes against us. He's going, shh. He has a little haircut. He's like, shh. Anyway, there's my 2 cents about Goran Dragic right there. He played very well for them. I knew this would happen. He was coming off the bench for them recently. He only played 21 minutes. He was 6 for 10 from the field, 4 6 from 3-pointers, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers also. So Goran Dragic, he's one of their better bench players. And just like Andre Drummond, he's been a very good pickup for the Bulls and their team. But hey, they're 5-6. Yeah, and look at us. We played 10 games of the season so far. We're a 600 team. And you know what? Classically, Nick Nurse is a 600 coach. He could even have this sewering of playing in Tampa for a year and, having a horrible year, the Tampa year, the pandemic year, and have that in his coaching record and he still got like this crazy ass win percentage, like Popovich. So that's what I'm saying. Respect the Raptors. We're a 600 team, 10 games into the gauntlet. Tough schedule, and we are 6-4 right now. That's fantastic. I love that. I love that. Now, I want to get more wins, especially while Pascal's out. We need to show the NBA that it doesn't matter if we don't have our best player, that we don't miss a beat, and that we're going to win games in the month of November, even if Pascal is not available for us. Yeah, there you go. I had to go on a little rant. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed that. There's some good fire in there. G saying Goran is 0-2 when he hushes the crowd. I know he needs to learn. Shh, you're not going to hush us. It's kind of fun. Actually, I kind of enjoy this whole dynamic with Goran Dragic. It's not really based on hate anymore. It's just kind of like it's part of the fun of sports. You got to have villains, and he's a great villain. I mean, the motherfucker has a name like a James Bond villain, and he's cocky, and he's just somebody you hate, like in general. Like if you knew him in real life, you probably hate him because he's just so smug and the way he acts. You were talking to him, you're like, I fucking hate this guy, and I don't even know him. Like it's just the way he's acting. All right, enough about Goran. We've given our Goran time for that, and that is it. Cool Cat saying that early challenge call on the ref. Okay, yeah, actually, that early challenge call on the ref actually helped Koloko defense around the rim too. No stupid rookie calls could be made anymore that night. Yeah, it's interesting how Koloko didn't get the foul calls like he did in Dallas in this game. And really, it is kind of like Ed Malloy versus the crew chief from the other night, who I don't even remember who it was. That's how good they are. If I forget who the referee was for the 2 games ago, that means they did a good job because I forgot. But yeah, it may have been a factor in helping Koloko stay on the floor also. Not to mention with Fred. The foul calls were actually pretty even between the two teams. Let me see. What were the fouls? We had 20. They had 20 calls on them, and we had only 16. So we actually got less fouls called on us than they did, and that's fantastic. And getting to the free throw line, we got to the free throw line way more than they did. We made 4 more free throws than them, but we shot worse at the free throw line. But we got 20 attempts. They only got 13. So there may have been some more favor with the foul calls because Nick Nurse called that early challenge, like Cool Cat is saying. That may have had part of the factor of why Koloko and Fred were available for most of the game. Isaac saying Nick Nurse deserves a star for the way he mixed it up last night. Great lineups. I agree. I like having Otto available for us to put in there. And once again, he is not making any defensive mistakes. He is seamless with this team. In fact, he's adding to it. He's adding a couple of steals himself every game. He's really good at getting steals also. It's really like we got an addition that just makes us even more powerful in something that we're already really good at, having Otto on the team. Then you add in that he's a very capable, dependable three-point shooter when he does get open. He's a fantastic addition this summer. And I love how much he really has just seamlessly fit in with our defensive schemes. That there's no adjustment period. There's no period where he looks weird or out of place. He fits exactly right with what we're doing on our defense, and he's doing it so well. I love it so much. He's so great, and I really like when him and Thad are kind of a tag team of the older players on our team out there on the court. Because good things happen. We get respect. They make smart decisions. They're savvier. They can outvet other players on the court. Like that had that little turnaround hook in the lane. He could have messed up and tried to go up with his right, but he switched to his left and turned around and just kind of put it in over them. That was smart veteran decision making in the lane that maybe a young player may not have done that. That's the kind of stuff that I like about this new dimension with these two older vets. We didn't have that at the beginning of the season. We got him in the middle of the season. He paid off immediately in the second half of the season and in the playoffs. Well, now we got 2 of them, Otto Porter, and Otto Porter is a much better three-point shooter. So he adds a whole bunch more in some ways. I really, really like it. Andrew Bishop saying, good morning, freaks. The freaks come out in the morning. The freaks come out in the morning. Click saying, hope Scotty is okay. People are saying Scotty's hurt or he's playing hurt last night. He didn't look hurt to me. Maybe a little bit of nagging injuries. Maybe he's a little hurt. I don't think he's hurt, though. Let's look at the injury report tonight, since there is another game tonight. Currently on our injury list, we have Kem Birch day-to-day. We have Pascal out for sure, and they're listing Justin Champagny on this injury list as day-to-day also. He has not played in the first 2 games for the 905. So I don't know. These guys may be up for the Chicago game because 905 is not playing again until Thursday, I believe. So they may have traveled from Capital City Go-Go to Chicago last night to be there for the game tonight. So we may have not Champagny because he's on the injury list, but Doughton and Harper Jr. may be available to the Raptors for their lineup tonight in the second game against Chicago tonight in Chicago. So that's interesting stuff. I don't know what's going on with Scott. He's not listed. He should be fine. That dude is just a tough dude. He's like Kyle Lowry. He heals so quick, like Wolverine in the comic book. Chicago Bulls injury still Zach LaVine day to day. We'll see how that goes. It was really nice not to have to play against Zach LaVine last night. His absence, it was very good. He may have been a factor in helping them possibly win the game last night if he had been available. Kobe White is still out. Lonzo Ball still out, and Andre Drummond out still. Those are your injuries for tonight. Not really a whole lot different from yesterday in the injury report. Mike saying, people think the leader is your best player, but the leader is the guy the fault lays on. It takes a special person to be a championship leader, and it's about sacrificing and knowing what's best. Takes IQ. There's different types of leaders, and we have those different types of leaders. The figurehead, like if somebody was wearing a C on their jersey like they do in hockey, it would be Fred. Fred would have that C on his jersey, and maybe Pascal would have the other alternate captain C, or maybe Scotty does. I don't know. But there are different kinds of leaders. Fred is really very much the coach, kind of quarterback, kind of like on the court coach leader. And then Pascal's the leader by example. He's the leader by, I am going to take over the game. I'm going to do all I can to lead the team in scoring in some statistical categories to help us win. And that is a type of leading also, but they're very different kinds of leadership. And then you've got like culture leadership, like fun leadership, like Scotty and OG kind of keeping fun, light things like Yuta does for the Nets, making the culture and the feel-good vibes. And then you got veteran leadership like Thad Young and Otto Porter. So there's all kinds of different types of leadership on a basketball team. And the great thing for the Raptors is we have very clear those type of leaders, different ones, like in different places, and they don't step on each other's foots, and they work really well all together. Like in some ways, OG is the defensive leader. He's the leader, the captain of our defense. In some ways, you could say that he's the figurehead and the guy who kind of leads the lightning rod. You could say that Chris Boucher is our energy leader, that he gets out on the court and he runs up and down the court. He does that kind of stuff. And he is a leader for us in an energy kind of way, because you see him doing that, and other guys, it gets infectious. They're like, oh, I need to be running like Chris because he's doing all this running. I should be doing it too. So all different kind of leadership roles. We have them in different categories and very good leaders for each of them. Nako's saying we're lucky to have both that in Otto. We really are. We lacked some veteran leadership last year at the beginning of the year. This part of the problem with our bench last year was not capable. Well, you get capable people to be on your bench, and boom, all of a sudden your bench looks way more capable. Our bench was horrible at this time last year. We had guys that just were not, they were possibly not supposed to be even in the league that were playing in our rotation for us last year. So it was tough. It was tough. Monique saying Vital on the 905 is nice, man. Yeah, Christian Vital, Sniper Vital, playing very well for the 905 also. I have not mentioned him on that level, and I should. He's kind of got an arrogance and a way he carries himself. Not a bad arrogance. He's got a swagger out on the court, on the 905 court, and I like seeing it. Christian Vital has a personality, and he has some things he wants to do. And I love that team. That team's interesting. Now, Ryan Hawkins hasn't showed up yet and really done anything impressive yet, but I'm waiting. I know he's going to show up and do some impressive three-point shooting at some point, but he has been very cold in the first 2 games so far. Cool Cat saying, I think with Pascal being out, those youngins will develop another way of winning. When we won the chip, we had so many different ways of winning, so that is good for strategy. Yes. And I was thinking about this this morning before when I was getting up. It's like, the Raptors don't have to have a set winning formula. We have to find different ways to get to the win in different games for different situations. And our flexibility and versatility, it really is kind of finding it each game. Whether it's like, okay, we have to play this way because the refs are calling things real tight, or maybe they're not calling it real tight like they did last night. They did not call a lot of fouls last night. They let them play. And there was a lot just letting it happen on the court. People were getting hammered and everything, but you had to just keep going. And there was a lot of that. And I think that sometimes the referees do this on purpose because much like the take foul has sped the game up, you call less foul calls, then you're not having so many stoppages of play. The game is more exciting, and it seems like it has a better pace going up and down the court. And that is really part of the reason why they hold their whistle sometimes. It doesn't have to do with them trying to cheat people out of free throws or anything. It's sometimes they just want the pace and the flow of the game to be up tempo and to not be bogged down by constant free throws all the time. And that may be part of on the underlying thing that the Joe Dumars and the head of officiating saying, guys, we want the game to be more like when I played. And it's more up and down. And fouls are important. Call the really important fouls, but maybe not call everything so that we're not constantly stopping the game to shoot free throws. And there can actually be a good flow up and down, back and forth. That's part of what's happening this year too, is they'll swallow the whistle so that it's for the game, for reasons for the game. It's not necessarily they're trying to screw anybody. They just want the pace to be better. So it's an interesting thing. Now, that's the thing. Every single game's going to be different. We're going to go and play them again tonight. And this game tonight may be nothing like the game last night. We may have to figure out a whole completely different kind of strategy to win and beat them. It could be this tonight. They may shoot even worse and we beat them even worse. They could shoot way better. And maybe they clean certain things up and they have better defense and they're stopping us better. And we have to figure out a different way to get around it to try and win. That's the thing. We cannot be set in our ways and say, this is just how the Raptors win. It may be totally different from night to night, totally different people. And maybe the same person may do something different on one night and do something different the next night. That it could be that Fred doesn't score 30 tonight. He gets like 15 assists and he only gets like 10 points, but Scotty's got like 30 points or something. So we need to be flexible as fans and not really have any kind of like expectations every game. Like, oh, this is what this person has to do every night or this person has to do every night. It really is. There's one jug. All of them got to fill the water in it and hope that water level is higher than the other team's water level. And certain people will put more water in on different nights. And some people may not be able to put any water in on certain nights for some whatever reason. And that's great. I think you're right, Cool Cat. The flexibility allows for us to problem solve in more different ways to get to the solution of how to get that W by the end of the game. Because we have so many tools, so many different weapons. Click saying Scotty shoots too early within the shot clock. It's weird. I want him to figure out his shot selection a little bit different. It does seem like you might be right. I've said earlier that I feel like he's chucking it sometimes. He's not totally fully taking the jump shot mechanics through his body, from his feet up through his legs with his knees. Sometimes he shoots very straight-legged and chuck. I don't like that. You bring up that energy from your feet, Scotty, and bring it up. The one thing he does right now, and Fred yelled at him for this in the game last night, he passed up a shot to give to Fred when he was open, and he should have just took the shot. And Fred said, you need to shoot it, Scotty. Why are you giving it to me? Because Fred did miss the corner three that he gave it to him, but Fred was not as open as Scotty was. It's just that he saw Fred in the corner. He knows Fred's a better three-point shooter than him. So he's like, okay, he'll make it more likely than me. Well, Fred told him on the way back down the court, you need to shoot it, young man, that you had the open shot. So in some ways, that was a problem. He's too hesitant. And he's like, oh, I was just making the next pass. Take the shot if you're open, Scotty. Take the shot. Be aggressive with the three. But shooting too early in the shot clock, sometimes that is premeditated by Nick Nurse with the pace and saying, like, we want to have this many possessions during the whole game. I don't care if you guys shoot really early in the shot clock. That's not the same as it used to be. It used to be in the old NBA, they really wanted to work the shot clock and get the most time off the clock. Well, in today's NBA, everybody wants as many possessions per the game. So they're encouraging these dudes to come down the court and just shoot right away, like within 3 or 4 seconds of the shot clock, really early, because they want to amass more and more possessions throughout the whole game. That's part of the strategy with that. So it could very well be that Nick Nurse is telling him to shoot early in the shot clock. And then it's not that he's doing it and it's a mistake. It's that it's a coach's goal for the game to have more possessions, more shot attempts. Go ahead and take it. We don't care if you miss it. You're just adding more possessions because you ate up so little of the clock. So that's the weird philosophy about that and why that may be happening. Fundamentally, it was wrong in the old NBA, but it's not anymore in the new NBA. That's a weird thing. Mike saying, Killer Cat, facts. Developing the better non-Fred VanVleet and spicy options are key to making a deep playoff run. This is always the case. And this was part of the reason why we were so successful last year with developing is we always had guys missing. And that just meant different guys had to jump up and do next man up. And this really is the fast track, quick way to get guys better. Koloko is the perfect example right now. He would not start if we didn't have guys that were missing games recently. And that his development and his acceleration as a player is partly because Fred was out because his back hurt. It's partly because Pascal is out now. So that is the thing. Everything in your own life, everything that's bad, that's a catastrophe or a disaster you think is wrong, like Pascal having this problem with his groin, is actually an opportunity disguised in a sad thing. Everything that happens, if it's bad, you can find the silver lining, and there's an opportunity in there in your own life. You just got to train your mind to see it and find it and go for it. And that's what's happening here. It's like we can't help that Pascal's out for 2 weeks right now. It sucks. And a lot of people are just like, they're casual fans will be like, oh no, we're going to suck now because our best player's gone. Bullshit. This is the best time for us to have other guys step up and develop faster in his absence. And Koloko is a great example of this. There's stuff that Scotty Barnes and O.G.Anunoby will be able to do more because Pascal will not be around for 2 weeks. So in every inconvenience, there's always an opportunity. You just got to look for it and capitalize on that, and not so much like, oh, Pascal, we suck without Pascal. Oh no, don't think that. We're going to do really good, and we're going to get a chance to develop other dudes, and that is the way to think. Exactly right. Cool Cat and Logical Raptors fanatic. Cool Cat saying, Scotty and his ankle is worrying me. He's wincing in pain. He hurried back to the locker room after the game. I see he's been wearing sneakers that cover his ankles. That's good. That's good. We want him to have the right foot protection. We were talking about whether his shoes were the right ones because the way he kept rolling his ankle in his career so far. So, yeah, we want him to have that kind of good stuff with that. All right, let me see. All right, I see there's an impression request in here. I'm going to have to keep going on here and catch up. You guys there's a lot of good comments in here I see, and some new names too. I'm going to have to make sure I get to everybody for sure. All right, I'm going to speed up and do these comments as quick as I can right now. Holy crap. Summer Lowe's here. Good to see Summer. Wow, you guys really went off. I love this. I love this so much. Okay, I may do really quick responses and not like 5-minute responses to every comment. Monique saying 3 stars, Fred, Scotty, OG. Mine were Fred, OG, and Koloko. Scotty is really good last night too with the double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds. I like that, but I had to give some recognition to Koloko for having such a big bust-out game last night. Leslie saying the rebounds were amazing. We need to nail our free throws. Yes, I want more good free throw shooting like Precious. Precious has dedicated himself to becoming a better free throw shooter, and is showing this season. And the rebounds were amazing. We are just voracious around that offensive rebounding board. We were going after it. And Chris is so fun. The way he's really thinking and getting in there. And then Precious is such a good rebounder. He is very conscientious, like looking after the ball and going after it and protecting it. So good. Saying club you over the head. So true. That's right. We just jumping over them. Koloko's just grabbing it over their heads. Some of the rebounds. No refunds. Laughing my ass off. I don't even remember what that's in reference to at this point. Saying Sheb did an entire video last night on Fred calling out the haters. Thank you, Sheb. Thank you, Chef. You go get those Fred slanderers, NBA Chef. You put them in their place. Mason Culligan's Freddie was amazing, picking when to pass and when to shoot. Really just play a good game, not just scoring point aside. Fred VanVleet was doing it. My stars are Scotty, OG, and Fred. Good stuff. I love that you guys are doing the star system like me. And Monique, I would like to request that you do 3 stars for the 905 games here in the chat, if you could for me. I know you did that for the first game, so I would very much like to see your comment in this comments today for who you thought were the 3 stars in the loss against the Capital City Go-Go yesterday. I wasn't watching the game good enough, and I didn't actually look at the box score, so I'd be happy to hear what you think. Monique saying, "Can we start saying we the fourth again?" It's been a while. We the fourth. Yeah. Well, let's look at what we did in the fourth quarter against the Bulls last night. We outscored them 30-22. That is really when we become plumbers. We become Mario and Luigi in the fourth quarter, and we try to cut off that water. We don't want no crabs and turtles coming out of the pipes, and then we have to bump them up. And I'm not even talking about Super Mario Brothers. I'm talking about original Mario Brothers. That's what we need at the end of the game is we turn the pipes off. That water gets turned off. We want to see the other team get between 10 and 20 points, get in the teens. That's always a good sign that we played a good fourth quarter, is that the other team can't score in the last quarter. And I love that. We can say we the fourth again. I'm all about it, Monique, because we are showing that kind of effort in the last quarter to take it home and make sure we get that W by the end of the game. Mike saying, "Gee, I claimed that as Project Truth unofficially, but Project Truth is the real ones who make the account of the Raptors the whole truth and not the ESPN style new media stuff. Movie trailer accuracy." I saw you talking about Project Truth a little bit on your channel, and I like this. And if I'm considered within the sphere and realm of that, like NBA Chef, thank you, Mike. That is part of what I'm trying to do here. It's like shit. So many people are fucking lying to us these days. They won't cut it to us real. They want something from us. They want to sell us something. They want to or vote. They want this or that. They'll promise us all kinds of bullshit. It's kind of hard to find the real ones. The ones that are just like, I don't have any skin in this game why I would lie to you guys or anything like that. So I'm just trying to be honest as much as I can as a person. And whether it's talking about life, politics, or the Raptors in basketball. And I think you're right that there is a cognitive dissonance between the NBA media in the States and what the Raptors really are, and that their truth is not necessarily the truth. And I love what you said on your piece that I watched yesterday, Mike. You said the people that really know teams are the grassroots people like you and I, like Chev, like people that are covering them and really paying attention. That those are the people you need to go look at in each fan base to learn about other teams and how they're doing. You need to go find the Mavericks freak. You need to go find the Bulls freak. You need to go and find the version of NBA Chef for the Knicks. And then you can learn way more about the team and the reality of it, because they're going to public image. PR people are always going to control the image in some ways of the team in the media with TNT, ESPN, and whatever, the sporting news, whatever mainstream media. Whereas grassroots people will be like on real about it. Yeah, we fucking hate this player on our team, even though they say, oh, everything's fine and everything. Yeah, but this guy sucks. The fans are turning on him because he's not playing well enough or he's pissing us off. You wouldn't find out the things that are problems with Philadelphia unless you went and looked at Philadelphia fan spaces. They're not going to talk about it in the mainstream media. So I agree with what Mike's saying here, Project Truth, and that this is true. This is something that is symbolic of media in general, that there is ability for somebody like me to do what I'm doing right now. And on some scale, it will be heard. And in the past, that wasn't always the case, that you didn't have this avenue for somebody to do this. And that it really was the media that completely painted the picture and the perception of things in that way. And that kind of teaches you how you could see that the media treating the Raptors a certain way for years and years did stifle them in the mind of everybody, the thoughts of everybody. It influenced them. And this is really cool. I like this Project Truth concept, and I appreciate it that I'm involved in it, that I would be considered underneath that umbrella. David saying, bonjour, freakdom, freakdom, the freakdom. I love it. David, you're doing really good in the fantasy. I know that you're up there. You're third right now. Kareem's in second. Greg is at the top. Jubstown Clink sitting at the top of the league right now. Good stuff in the fantasy league. I hope you guys are enjoying playing. And it looks like, we'll see if it comes in the mail, the prize for the fantasy basketball that we're playing for Raptor Freak basketball is going to be, who knows if it's going to come here. I don't know. We'll see if Isaac comes through. I'm not dependent on it for sure, but we may have a really good prize for the winner of the fantasy basketball this year. If you did not see the other day what it is, I'm not going to tell y'all. I'm going to surprise y'all. Hopefully it'll come here and I'll get to show y'all very soon. Let's see. G-San, I have not fact checked it, so can't say for sure, but apparently Raptors are the best fourth quarter team right now. I think that's probably right. We really do shut people's water off. Sometimes the other team doesn't score but 12 points in the fourth quarter, and that can really help that stat. So I would say that's probably true. I haven't fact checked that either, but I would say just off perception of watching the games and understanding fourth quarters with teams is that's probably very true. Seymour saying, "Good morning, Raptor freaks. Bulls no match for player coach Steady Freddy." You know what? I'm going to do something weird right now. Let's do the real mascot matchup right now, real quick. The last time we saw the Raptor, he's laying on the ground in the woods, and he'd just been knocked out by a horse that bucked him off because he didn't want to let him ride him. And he's feeling hot, snorting breath on his forehead, and it is a bull. It's a wild bull in the middle of the woods. And I don't even understand how there's wild bulls anymore. Like I said the other day, I feel like every bull is domesticated in a farm and in some, behind a fence. It's safe. Why would there be a wild bull roaming around the woods? Maybe there are still wild bulls in this world. Probably not. But we'll just do this for suspension of disbelief just for this instance. Well, he's deciding whether he wants to play dead and let the bull just kind of go away because he can't hulk up like he did last year. This is a reality-based real mascot matchup world. And it's like really like he would not win against the bull. So he had to be really smart about it. So he did. He kind of acted like he was asleep. And the bull kind of wandered off. And he's like chewing on some grass a little bit further away. And the raptor thinks he's gone, but he's kind of nearby still. And the raptor's like, okay, he's gone. I'm going to get up and like leave. Well, the raptor is red, y'all. We know that the raptor is red as a mascot. This is a weird world. It's the normal world, but he is a humanoid raptor, like the mascot walking around in it. And he may be the only weird, fantastic thing about this world is that there's a humanoid dinosaur man that is the raptor. And he's red, just like the raptor we see at the games. It's the same dude. And it's not in a costume. He's actually like the creature and stuff. So he's like, okay, I'm going to slink away. Well, the bull sees the red flat, like get up and like start moving. And it's just like a matador in his red cape. He's like, oh shit, there's somebody to get. And so he's like sees him, but the raptor does not know that the bull is still there. And he sees his red ass and he is aiming for him. What's going to happen next? On the real mascot matchup, will the raptor ole or will he go, oh no? Next time on the real mascot matchup, let's see part 2 with this bull in the woods. See how it goes. There you go. G saying awesome, Logical. Check it out. Check out Logical Raptors Fanatic. Always good stuff on his channel. Leslie saying, Lex, did you call the Fred haters stands? Laugh out loud. I love it. One of the most epic videos ever by EM. No, I call the people that stand up for Fred VanVleet stands. So like we're Raptors stands, we're Fred VanVleet stands, we're Pascal Siakam stands, we're Scotty Barnes stands. It's like there's Philadelphia stands, there's Joel Embiid stands. So it's really the fans are the stands, the haters, the slanderers are the opposite. So we're Fred VanVleet stands ourselves. Yeah, I know that's like a younger person term, and maybe I sound weird using it as an older person. But what most epic videos ever by EM? EM. Who's EM? I'm trying to remember who's EM. I'm not totally getting that. Lolita's saying Channing Frye was saying that Cleveland's a championship contender, not the Raptors. Eggs on his face. He's going to say that because he played for them. He was on those teams with LeBron and LeBronto, and he was a part of the Cleveland beating down on Toronto. He hates us. He's a hater. Channing Frye has no journalistic integrity. He's not not unbiased. He's very biased. He's biased against the Raptors and he's biased for Cleveland. And he's on mainstream, like he's on the main, like national NBA broadcast. I hate him. He's an idiot. Don't ever listen to Channing Frye. He's an idiot. And he's a former Cavalier who won a championship with the Cavaliers, right? Wasn't he on the championship team with LeBron that year? So yeah, he's not. He hates the Raptors. He's always hated the Raptors. He always puts us down low. So fuck Channing Frye. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. So yeah, fuck him. Mike saying, gee, it's just a word for the feeling of the movement. The real Raps fans taking back our image with NBA fans in general with being truthful. People laugh at my name and ask, how can a Raps fan be logical? I like your name because I think it's cool. It says a lot about what you're all about, and that's an important thing about your name, especially is like in this situation when you're trying to do a YouTube channel. So you kind of get a feel of what your channel is going to be like. Logical is a very important name. I don't understand why people don't think that Raptors fans would be logical. Maybe they think we're delusional. Maybe it's a little bit of gaslighting, y'all. Honestly, they don't want us to be good. So when we try to say we're good, they're like, "No, you're not. You guys are idiots. You're not good." Well, it's gaslighting is what they're doing. They know we're good on the down low. It's just that they've had this ability to make us unsure about things because of the history of our franchise at different times. And less loyal Raptor fans would go, "You're right. I don't know. I shouldn't be like we're that good. You're right. We're the Raptors for Pete's sake." You know, it's that kind of mentality. They wanted that to be on us. Well, fuck that shit. We're changing that shit. And Mike's right. Project Truth. Let's go. Seymour Pape saying Ryan Hollins and Channing Frye are just horrible at reporting. I don't even Ryan Hollins. I don't even think I've seen him. Yeah, fuck those guys. They're on ESPN. Fuck them. That's just what I'll say. That's the short answer. Logical Raptors fanatic saying Lex cooking on the position talk. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying the game last night. It was a lot of fun. And thank you, Raymond Jacob, for your suggestion yesterday. It did actually garner some new subs and some new attention. So who knows? Hopefully we win tonight, and I'll do another one tonight. And this one, I'll try and do it in the light instead of the dark. G saying, I think people are so used to boxing players into positions that it's hard for them to wrap their heads around positionless and versatility. I love that the Raptors are showing people this is possible. Yes, and there's a strength to this in some ways. Like, go ahead. You can be closed-minded and think that this is the only way you can live. There's so many different things you can apply this to in different walks of life. As far as like you don't see the potential in this kind of way, if you just expand your mind and get outside your like way of thinking in your own box too much, you may be missing really great opportunities because you kind of built yourself into confined area and how you look at things. So this is kind of what the basketball team of the Raptors are doing is they're expanding the mind of the consciousness of the idea of positionless basketball. And the NBA is not totally ready for it. They want to, oh no, you don't have any ones or fives on your team. You just have a bunch of fours and threes. This does not compute. How will this work? You're breaking all the rules, Nick Nurse and Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri, with your team construction and the way you play. What is this? Well, maybe we're the future, baby. Maybe we're showing y'all the way. Maybe we're at the beginning with the light and we're bringing y'all behind us and that y'all are going to be copycatting us. I think Orlando's already doing this. I think the Magic are like the Wish version of the Raptors at this point. There's a little gem for y'all. Orlando Magic are the Wish version of the Raptors right now. Kenny's saying, please play Fred less minutes. We need him more after the All-Star break. You know what? I like this idea of this, Kenny. Let me propose this. And this is something like Greg says on Jump Cling. He likes them playing a lot of minutes because it's like a callus you build in your hand. You want him to be ready to play a huge amount in a game. Well, what if we did this? What if we let Fred take load management games pretty often? Like maybe every 5 games he misses one of them. And it's just a scheduled like tightness of the back that he needs to just get the less games, but he still plays like a lot of minutes in the games he does play, but he has more games off. That helps him. Like even if he just has a little bit of a nagging injury, we could say, Fred, we want you to be very sensitive to your body this year. Does your back tight? Yeah, it's a little tight today. All right, you go ahead and rest, even if you could probably play. It's that kind of scenario that maybe we should treat him with. That him missing the last 3 games was actually really good for him to be able to come back last night and play 39 minutes and not be that worried about him being overused. Or that's the way I think we should do it. We can play him heavy minutes on the games he plays, but let's rest him more often during the season. Like if he only plays 60 games this season, I'll be very happy with that. As long as he's healthy for the playoffs and he's ready to go then. He only plays like 60 games. He misses like 22 games of the season. That's actually pretty smart because that is kind of what we did with Kawhi in the championship year. We mimic that. So maybe that's how we do it, Kenny. His minutes will still be high, but maybe he sits more games. And they may be games that make sense for him to sit. Okay, we're playing Philadelphia. Fred, you get the night off. Monique saying, so what do you think of your short reaction video? If no one takes Koloko out to dinner, I'll do it. Monique, I would love to see that. I would love to see you and Koloko at dinner. And just, I would love this. That would be so fun to watch, to see the interaction between you and Koloko. I know you'd ask him some tough questions and find out some cool stuff from Koloko if you had that opportunity. They should make a show called Dinner with Monique, where Monique just has dinner with different Raptors personalities and people. And that would be such a cool format and show, Dinner with Monique. I love that idea. I love that. I think the short reaction video that I did last night was fun, and I will probably do more of it. Thank you, Raymond Jacob. I'm going to get better at them too, and maybe make them really clickbaity so that it's really quick and attractive to get more followers that way. So we'll have to see. I'm definitely going to do it more, but it's only going to be on win nights that we win. When we lose, maybe if it's a loss and I'm really pissed off, I'll let y'all see how pissed I am. Evelyn too. That's right. This could make this show like maybe we have like a couple of people, like three of y'all. Maybe it's Evelyn, Monique, and Sue, and they have dinners with players, and the three of them sit there and interview them. That would be such a cool show. Like the maybe it's called like the Raptors ladies or something like that, and they come and sit down and like they have different guests. Hey, on our show tonight we have Christian Koloko, and we're eating lobster bisque, something like that. And you guys just trade off on questions. And I know Evelyn would ask some good questions. She would be asking some tough questions, but also very loving questions and questions from the perspective of a longtime Raptors fan. So I would love that show. Summer Lowe could be on that show too if she could get over here from Hong Kong. It's strange that Chicago didn't make any adjustments to the double team, but if Bulls have Levine, it's going to hurt a lot more to double team like that. Yes, that is a big thing that helped us win last night. I think if Zach LaVine had been playing, we would have had a way harder time trying to win the game last night. And that them together, Derozan and LaVine, play off each other and help each other so much. There's a lot of talk in the post game last night on our side about how Koloko has such a good effect on opening things up for our team. Nick Nurse and Fred talking about this in particular in the post game interviews, that Koloko's presence, and just because of the way he is, allows for our easier shot attempts and things opening up on our offensive end because they have to guard him a certain way. And that has really helped a lot. And that's part of the reason why our offenses look better with him starting in the last week, is that he's allowing some of our offensive players easier shots and easier opportunities because his presence kind of has to have to be played a certain way. And that's awesome. But I think Summer's exactly right. Zach LaVine in this game last night may have hurt us really badly, and it may have changed the game. So Chicago Bull fan can easily say this morning, we might have won if we had Zach LaVine. And I wouldn't disagree with them because that could very well be true. And we have to, hopefully he won't play again tonight because it's going to be a whole different kind of thing if LaVine is available and he's out there playing for them. It's going to be a whole other tough kind of matchup in some ways. All right, let's keep going. Nameless is saying was listening to some Bulls podcast and they hate Koloko and his linked. Yes, let us feel your hate. Yes, let the hate flow through you. That Emperor stuff. I love it. Monique saying the fact DeMar had 20 points shut him down tonight. This is insane. Like, seriously, this is not a DeMar DeRozan normal kind of night for him recently. I mean, let's look at his stats in his game log for recent games. He had 46 points against Boston on Friday. Now, he did have a dud game against Charlotte on Wednesday last week, only 9 points. And then he had 20 points against Brooklyn. So he's been up and down. I should really know this because he's on my fantasy team. But for the most part, he's averaging 26 points per game he's averaging 25 points per game this season. And he has been very deadly and unstoppable in a lot of ways. Well, we boxed him in a bit and had some good success against him. And that's great. A lot of it was the doubling of him. And like Summer said, we probably couldn't have gotten away with it if Zach LaVine had been available. Let's see. Mike saying, not gonna lie, excuse me. I said his length and speed is actually terrifying. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Koloko's speed is, yeah, terrifying to other teams. They're just like, what the fuck? Why didn't we draft him? Paul B saying, would you ever consider doing a post game stream? I'd be curious to see if your subscription numbers went up. We were actually talking about this, Paul, yesterday. That's why I did the thing after the game last night. It's not going to be a stream because I'm not going to do like 2 or 3 hours after the game at night. I'd rather do it right now, like I'm doing. But I'll do like a quick, maybe 5-minute reaction. And I won't do it where I'll pre-tape it. I won't put it up with the live stream comments. So it's really just going to be y'all will be able to see me react to the game for like 5 minutes after the game immediately. That's what I'm going to start doing. And it's only, I think I'm only going to do it for wins. Maybe I'll do it for losses, depending on if the loss is really egregious and something fucked up happened. Maybe I'll go off and do a little rant. So yeah, well, I've already kind of got this idea in development. And there was some subscriptions last night when I did the first one last night. So it's interesting. We'll have to see because that may be when people are really hungry to find content immediately after the game. So I'm very seriously considering doing this more and more. Thank you. Mike saying load check, 2 bullets left. He's checking his gun. He was like, do you feel lucky, punk? Did you count how many shots I've fired already? Do you remember? Tom Duke saying, Paul B, it would catch on for sure. I enjoyed that post game video last night. Go Lex. Well, I do need to turn the lights on. I think I might have to have a special background. I want to kind of do it on standing up. And I also didn't use my computer for it. I used my tablet. So it's going to be a little bit different format than this. And it'll definitely be in a different folder. Like I'm just going to call them Raptor Freak Reactions. And then there'll be the live streams that we're doing right now. So yeah, we'll see. Andrew Bishop saying we're still cooking. Delano, he will be ready soon. Yeah, he's on that a stovetop and he's simmering. And he didn't get in last night, which was interesting that Delano didn't actually get into the game. But you know what? I like who they played and I like how they rotated them. And there wasn't a big deal that Delano didn't get in. That's just normal kind of stuff. It's like Thad's not going to get into some games. Otto may not get into some games. Well, Delano didn't get into the game last night. And that's just how it is. But he's getting better and better. Oh, man. I'm surprised. Actually, if you told me that Delano Banton is probably not going to play on the 905 this year, I would have said you're crazy. But I don't think he's actually going to get to touch the 905 court this season after such a great season last year and just being such an ensconced person in our rotation options right now that he's a main roster dude. And I don't think he's going to put on a Raptors 905 jersey this season. And maybe that Koloko barely goes down there this year too. Cool Cat saying, I am proud of seeing Gary drive to the rim and dunk starting from the 3-point line. This is a development. Threes weren't falling much, and happy to see him try something else. Let's break down Gary's game last night because he's an unsung guy, and I like a lot of what he did. He made 4 shots last night. He was 4 for 11, 1 of 5 from the field, 3 of 5 at the line. I don't like him missing the 2 free throws, but he had 3 rebounds, no assists, and a steal, minus 25, 12 points. Now, this is 2 games in a row where Gary's gotten just 12 points. And you know what he did last night was very interesting, and it's what Cool Cat's saying. He mixed it up. We saw a 3. He made a 3. He made a breakaway dunk when he went down the lane, and he jammed it. He made a little teardrop into the lane where he kind of just lofted it over somebody. And then he made kind of a shot that was a circus shot going to the basket, but it wasn't a dunk in traffic with people around him. Those are 4 different, totally different kind of shots that Gary makes. And then he did that. Now, he in some ways, some people may be coming down on him and saying, oh, he's not playing that good. But he's playing good. He's playing within himself. It's just that he's not super outstanding and at the focal forefront like he would be one of the top 2 or 3 scorers. Well, he's a little bit lower, but he's at least producing and putting a little bit of water to contribute to that water level that we need to get by the end of the game. That all 12 of his points in this game and in the game against Dallas were important points. Now, we didn't win the game in Dallas. We lost by 1 point. And maybe if he had made 1 more basket, we might have won that game. But in this game last night, he was great because he did help contribute to scoring at different times when we needed people to score. And that is part of what Gary's role is. He's a bucket when we need a bucket. And he may not make shots all the time. But listen, I have no problem with what he did last night, even though it's identical to what he did on Dallas. And I had more of a problem with what he did on Friday night because we lost by 1 point, and I felt like he could have stepped up a little bit more. Well, he plays within himself, and we win the game last night. I have no problem with him getting 12 points. It's just when we lose and it's that close, and this is a guy who's capable of getting more. That's when I'm like, Gary, why couldn't you do just a little bit more? A little bit more. Adante's here. Good to see Adante. Every morning, 9:30 a.m., we do a live stream talking about daily Raptors issues and things, reacting to games, previewing games, all that kind of good stuff, trivia, just fun. Raptors fun. That's what this channel is all about. Great win by the Raptors last night. I agree, Adante. Fantastic win. I was not predicting us to win the game last night, honestly. And I did the preview yesterday, I really had a fishy feeling that Malloy was going to try and steal this game from us. Well, he didn't. And in some ways, we kept that lead good. We had the double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Well, it shrunk, and it did get a little close at times near the end, but there was no ref manipulation. It was so outwardly cheating or messed up that they directed the win towards the Bulls by making some shady-ass shit happen. In fact, they were kind of laying back as refs last night and just letting them play. Like I said, they were not calling the whistle a lot of times when they could have. And they decided to let them just play. Sometimes the refs do that. They said, we're going to let them play tonight. We're not going to get tight on the whistle. And some nights they are tight on the whistle. So in some ways, them not being tight on the whistle last night was actually a real benefit to us winning the game, because they could have called it a lot tighter, got us some of our guys in foul trouble, messed up the pace of the game, did all kinds of different things to stymie us from doing really well. So Monique saying Santa Van Vliet getting her shine last night was so sweet and so young. Yeah, Fred's daughter was really cute last night, and she's getting put on blast in the NBA down south. They're showing her just like they showed Steph Curry and his daughter a couple years ago after the game, and she was cute. She's like, "How did your daddy do?" And she's like, "Good." And then she's like holding her face like this at one point, and like all the meme makers are loving this. It's like the perfect picture of Fred with his daughter holding her face like this, and they're writing, "Yeah, this is how the Fred slanderers feel today." It's like, his daughter, like, oh, it's like, yeah, this is what you look like. You hold your head. But I love also Fred's fiance, Shante, her reaction to the press conference too. And she's like, that's my little girl, just her being her. That's her personality and stuff. So it's really fun to see, Fred's kid there and her getting her shine and stuff. She really was a little superstar there, Sana. So cool to see. Tom Duke saying she was so cute, so cute. Paul B saying, I had Koloko as my number one realistic option, and it worked out. Dalen Terry was my number two, and he went 2 for 2, 4 points, 1 for the Bulls last night in the first time he played more than 2 minutes. You're talking about like as far as who we should draft. Well, I remember when we were around that time on this channel, I had it worked out to be like maybe 3 or 4 picks that I were acceptable to me, and Koloko was on that list. So I was very happy when we got Koloko. And he wasn't somebody that I totally understood right away, but very much figured him out quickly when he showed up and started showing us what he does. It is a real testament that he did 3 years at Arizona. And that really is part of the reason why he's so ready right now. That if he'd only played 1 year at Arizona or no college, or maybe even just 2 years, he may not be this far along. That he actually did get the real college experience, and that time with a coach on that level teaching them. And I think that so many players, I know that it's a risk to stay in college too long and you might get hurt and then mess up your NBA career. But I think that it would really do NBA players smart to go to the NBA. I mean, not go to the NBA, go to the NCAA, play for a college team for at least 2 years, because it really is something that's missing in a lot of young players that come to the NBA at this point. They are not ready. They're not fundamentally good. They don't play right. And this is part of the reason why Christian is so good right now. He played 3 years at Arizona, and he did college. He actually did college like the old NBA players used to. They go to college for 4 years, and they would be a much more polished player as rookies. And this may be part of the reason why he's so good so far, is he had 3 years at Arizona. So let's keep going. Mike saying it's in part the team actually's ability to develop does weigh into their choices, and they maybe saw Kanono as too raw, but it's also the Dom team's draft now. Like forwards are crushing. I mean, I'm not going to go through each of the other 29 teams and talk about why would they pass up Christian Koloko in the draft this year. There may be different reasons, different things like that. I don't know. To me, he should have been a top 10 pick. Like, he just has that kind of talent and possibility to his game that he could be like one of the top 10 players in this draft that just came out this year. So yeah, I think that they just slept on it and they were stupid. And their loss is our gain, obviously, very much our gain. Nameless is saying they didn't take Koloko because they're a bunch of prejudice down there. It ain't American, they ain't interest. If it ain't American, we don't want it. It could be partly it. I don't think so though, because he was such on blast in the NCAA tournament and playing for Arizona. Everybody knew who he was. It's not like he was hidden away. It's not like he was on New Mexico State and he was like a player coming from nowhere like Pascal or anything like that. This dude was on a major team and he was the defensive player of the year for the Pac-10. How the fuck did this guy fall through the cracks? They knew who he was. What the fuck is wrong with them? They just didn't do their due diligence. And they suffer for not getting them, and we get the gains. Yeah, Mike's saying if it now, so the team are looking for Giannis and Kawhi, but Masai and those guys were the future and got them when everyone was looking for Steph Curry. So now they think centers are unplayable, so he fell. I don't even think Koloko is necessarily a center. It's weird because like on ESPN's box score, they list him as a forward. I'm like, y'all, that's a center. They still don't want the Raptors to have a center so bad. They won't even put him down as a C next to his name in the box score. Go look at the ESPN box score. I'll look at it right now. He has an F next to his name. That's messed up. That's so messed up. I don't even look at him as kind of a center in some ways. I'm sure he has center height. He's technically a 5. They're calling him a center, but the mobility and the way he plays, it doesn't make him like a center. So he's not like Jokic. He's not like Embiid. He doesn't have the limitations that those guys have to a degree with their speed and they're getting tired and different things like that. Koloko's got a motor and he's able to get up and down the court and run just as well as Boucher, just as well as Precious, just as well as Scott Barnes. These guys get up and down the court all together. He's not going to slow us down in a fast break. He's going to be running there right with them. So in some ways, it's not like he's fits into the mold of what we're growing out of in the league as far as the big clunky centers. You have to be a mobile center. A center that can get up and down the court like DeAndre Ayton or Daniel Gafford or our guy Koloko. David Robinson prototype is what I'm talking about. So that's the difference. You got Joel Embiid, who's more like a Kevin Duckworth, and then you got a Koloko who's more like a David Robinson. They could run up and down the court all day and get up and down quickly. And that's why, in some ways, I don't know if he is a center technically, and he's definitely a center, but I don't know if he really fits the mold of like what we're saying as far as the game is changing and going away from centers. He's not, the game's not going away from him. It may be going away from Joel, but it's not going away from Christian because he's got the mobility that can keep up with the new game. That's the difference. Monique's saying, as I said in my reaction post, Koloko will win Defensive Player of the Year one day. I think that's a great prediction. I think that's very much probably true. That, you know, if he has some sort of crazy season where he leads the league in blocks, he's going to look like Mutombo at times. And Mutombo got Defensive Players of the Year. So I would expect Koloko. I mean, there's so many players on the Raptors that should be getting Defensive Player of the Year. We could say Fred could get it. We could say Gary could get it. OG, Precious, Scotty, Koloko. Any of these guys could get Defensive Player sometime. We just need to start getting Raptors winning Defensive Player of the Year. And OG should be the first one. OG should get it first. If he averages 3 steals a game for the whole entire season, he should be the Defensive Player of the Year. And then maybe down the road, Koloko, because of some crazy blocks or whatever he's doing, I think your prediction will come true. I think you're right, Monique. Cool Cat's saying NBA team's going to try and break up Masai and Bobby. Good thing is that Bobby knows that Masai's got his back, and as Masai rise, he will rise too. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't heard more talk about Bobby Webster being taken from our team. We've heard the Masai Ujiri talk. We've heard the Nick Nurse talk. But we haven't heard much about somebody trying to come and poach Bobby Webster. You know, listen, Bobby Webster is an extremely intelligent person. I think Mike said on one of his contents that he's like, he could be working for the CIA, that he has like a very good memory. He remembers everything. And he's like such a detail-oriented guy. And you can tell, like, when he does interviews, his mind is working in different ways. He doesn't just say it out of his mind. He really thinks about what he's going to say before he says exactly what he wants to say. And Bobby Webster is so smart. He may be just like Nick Nurse. He may be like, I have it so good. I'm set up to succeed. I look so good. Why would I want to fuck this up and go and be the general manager for the New York Knicks? Like, why would Nick Nurse want to coach the Lakers? Everybody's saying, oh, we need to get Nick Nurse to coach the Lakers. Well, why the fuck would he want to leave a perfect situation in Toronto to go and coach the Lakers? He can be the coach of the national team of Canada here. He can do all kinds of fun things on this Raptor team. He's set up. I think it's a similar thing for Bobby Webster, that he knows it's so good here and he's too intelligent to fuck that up. Then they may throw money at him and say, come be the general manager of the Washington Wizards, please. He's like, no, fuck that. So I don't worry about them poaching him either. But if they did someday, well, so be it. Bobby, you want to go there? We'll have the next guy. We got a next guy up. As long as Masai is here, I'm happy. Now, Bobby, he wants to go somewhere else. That's him. That's on him. But that would be a mistake. And he's too smart to make that mistake. Trust me. Nameless saying Scotty should have chose another number rather than steal Bosch's. I don't even really think he stole his number. That's his number. He likes 4. He's always wore 4. You know, there's an interesting thing that people are talking about with Giannis and Jokic are stealing the numbers from Carmelo and Ray Allen in their franchises. Ray Allen wore number 34 for the Bucks, and he'll never be able to retire that number for the Bucks because Giannis wears it. And the same thing for Jokic in the relationship with the Denver Nuggets with Carmelo Anthony, that they wear the same number, and that Jokic is a much better player than Anthony was for the Nuggets, and that in some ways it's his number. I have no problem with Scotty taking 4 from Bosch. I don't think Bosch deserves to own 4 for our team the way he left. So, yeah, I'm glad Bosch doesn't get associated with 4 at this point. It is Scotty's number, and it's his for his to have. Bosch can have number 4, whatever number he wore down in Miami, get that retired and all that kind of stuff. He's already retired in the Miami arena down there. He's not retired here. He's Heat Nation. So I don't covet anything to keep anything for Chris Bosch. Fuck that. He made the decision to go down there to be with LeBron. You know, he'll get honored by the Raptors in his own little ways here and there, but he should never have his jersey retired by us. And, you know, that's Scotty's number, rightfully so. So I disagree with this completely. Number 4 is Scotty Barnes, not Chris Bosch. It may have been Chris Bosch back in the day, but it isn't anymore. Mike's saying Barnes to the future, back to the future, Barnes to the future. As a nickname, Barnes to the future. The other nickname I thought of for Scotty was Scotty Basketball. It's just that he loves basketball so much. Just call him Scotty Basketball. Scotty Basketball with the basketball. Because he plays basketball, he practices basketball, he works out for basketball, and he has off time. He goes and plays basketball in the video game. He just can't get enough basketball. It's like he's a basketball head. So Scotty Basketball was another nickname I was thinking about for him. Scotty Basketball. Scotty Basketball. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Daddy Gates. This is a new name. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single morning, talking Raptors with the Raptor Freak Cult. Most of these NBA teams are looking for all these flash and dash players who have great individual skills and talent, but don't know how to win. There is a difference. Masai wants to win. Yeah, it's true, Daddy Gates. It's like not only do you have to have the skill guys, a guy like Scotty Barnes, but you have to have like the character. You have to have the fit, the culture. It's like this person like Fred VanVleet that they really fucking want to win, because you're not going to draft. You can have a really talented dude that's amazing, so talented, but he doesn't have the desire. He doesn't have that will to win, maybe they interview guys and they count how many times the person says win in their conversation. Like if you don't say the Masai quota of the amount of times of you say win, like Masai would say win, and people count how many times he says the word win in things that he does speeches, and they count, and they're like, oh, Masai said win 35 times in his speech today. You know, maybe that's part of what they do. Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri around draft time, they sit down with prospects and they listen to them. And then afterwards they walk away and Bobby's like, he only said win twice. Yeah, he's not a fit. Maybe it's something like that. Like they gauge the desire by how many times they actually say the word win. Because Scotty says the word win all the time. He's just like Masai Ujiri. And that may be part of the reason why they're like, we need to go with Scotty. Because Scotty's saying win all the time. We counted it. The number of times Scotty said win was like 24 times. Ooh, that's about half the amount of times that Masai would have said it in that time. But that's still really good. It's true. You know, you want to have the talent. You could have the most talent in the world. But if you don't give a shit about winning, you don't have the desire, you're going to lose. You got to have the right connection of that good talent with the desire. in that. And I think that's so important. Thank you for your comment, Daddy Gates. And I know you comment some more, so I'm looking forward to see what else you have to say. Nameless is saying 20 plus points for all 5 starters. That's not last night because Gary didn't get 20 plus points. But yeah, we only had 2 guys that got up there. It was OG and Fred. 30 points for Fred, 22 for OG. You want them to all average 20 points for the 5 starters for the year? I mean, we did 15 last year. Maybe we can get 17 points. Everybody's averaging at least 17 points in the starting lineup. I don't know. This could be different and weird because Koloko's in the lineup all of a sudden in different ways. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Monique's saying, Lex, I noticed you put the chat minutes to 13. It's perfect for me, to be honest. Thank you. Yeah, I want to put the a little bit of a delay, but not too much. I'm trying it different ways. Callie's here. So her stress meter was low. I have a lot more confidence in the team this year. This is awesome. See, we can look at where we were last year in Callie's stress meter and us talking about how the team was in November without Pascal back yet, and just how much we were having trouble staying above 500. We not even close to 500. We were a losing team at this time last year, and Callie's stress meter was off the charts. Well, this year she's way more confident in them to finish the game strong and get the W. And I love that, Callie. I want your blood pressure low. I want you to have just an easy, nice time and no cussing, so that your family's not like, why is Callie in there cussing so much? Oh, the Raptors must be losing. We love you, Raptor Freak Callie Mayer. You're the awesome, and I'm glad you're back again for this season. Nameless saying, hate these back-to-backs against the same team all year. So unfair. Makes it 2 times harder to win consecutive games and generate win streaks. Very sneaky what the league did. Well, the first back-to-back, the one against Brooklyn and then to Miami, was horrible. That was absolutely the worst. That may be the worst one that we have all year. This one, I don't mind because the travel's the same for both teams. It's not like they had to do the same damn thing we had to do, get out of Toronto and get back to Chicago. So it's very much a level playing field in some ways, the way that this back-to-back is set up. Going from Toronto to Chicago, both the teams are making the same trip. And I love what Fred said to Savannah Hamilton at the end of the game. I need to get in the shower and get on the plane and get to Chicago. So let's finish this interview up. Yes, Fred. And Fred was cruising to the airport on his Instagram, playing some tunes. These dudes are really big on the new Drake album. The new Drake album is actually really fire. I've listened to it and I like it. It's better than what he did earlier this year with Honestly Nevermind. It was kind of more little like easy listening. This one, there's a way more bar spit in it. And 21 Savage is awesome. And, it's just good stuff. And it was cool to see Drake at the game last night. And I'm glad he was there. Of course, he's there because DeMar's in the house. You notice if DeMar or Kyle are playing the Raptors, Drake will be in his seat at the game because those are his buddies and those are his dudes. Fred, Kyle, DeMar, he loves those dudes and he comes to support them. And he wants to see DeMar when he comes to town. So that's why Drake was at the game. And fantastic album. Once again, representing the 416 in Toronto, killing it in music. We got the best fucking basketball team to watch, and we got the best musical artist on the planet from Toronto. That is Drake. And Drake is killing it this weekend. How many days has this album been out? It's been out since Thursday night. And the amount of streams and the amount of things that have been sold for it is absolutely outstanding. He is absolutely the king of music. Drake. You go, Drake. I know some of y'all may not like his music. Maybe he's full of shit and he's kind of stupid. But he is a badass and he's bona fide because we see the power of the stream, how many he puts out there and just how quickly people eat it up and put it all over the place. Most people are saying this album is fire. It may be the album of the year. So we just keep winning in Raptors Nation. We just keep winning because our global ambassador is winning in his world also. And I love it. I love it so much. Daddy Gates is saying Nick has got to go look at how Pat Riley used to do substitutions with the Lakers back in the day. Great example of minutes management. Ooh, I want to think about those olden times. You're talking about a team with like Irvin Johnson, Byron Scott, James Worthy, AC Green, and maybe Michael Thompson, maybe Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Maybe you got some Michael Cooper coming off the bench, maybe some little Larry Drew, different people like that, Kurt Rambis. Stuff like that. That's an interesting historical team to look at. And I like that as a team to look at because they were a Showtime team. They were a high tempo, up and down the court, fast break team. And we are mirroring that this year. In fact, I have seen shades of LA Showtime in this Toronto Raptors team from the games last week against Atlanta and San Antonio. There were times we were getting up and down that court so quick. It might have looked like a Paul Westhead or Pat Riley Lakers team from the early 80s. And yeah, that may be a good template to look at how Pat Riley was staggering his dudes going in and out at that time. I remember those teams with the Lakers. He only used about 8 or 9 guys. So he wasn't going real deep in the bench. He really had like 3 or 4 guys that he brought in with the 5 main starters kind of in and out. And that's not bad advice. But as I said earlier, I really feel like other than the Brooklyn game, Nick Nurse's rotations and the way he's been subbing guys has been right on point. That the Brooklyn game was the only game he fucked up and we lost for it. I honestly do believe we lost the Brooklyn game because of Nick Nurse not subbing enough and fast enough in the third quarter. But yeah, that's a great example. And it makes me think we're playing more like the Showtime Lakers this year because the take foul is there now. They get in trouble for trying to stop our fast break. Then maybe this is a good place to research. Go see what Riles did in the early 1980s of Showtime LA Lakers. Yeah. Mike's saying when you train for a marathon, you just run 3/4 of the race in training. Do you? No, you don't. I know this is Greg's point. It's about conditioning for the playoffs and having full rest days off. So Nick and Masai and the organization believe this. Yeah, okay. So this is very much Greg's philosophy on Jubstown Clink about you don't lessen their minutes, you maybe rest them more games. And this is kind of what we've been talking about today. And maybe this is what the successful thing is with Fred from this week. We rest him 3 games. Boom, he comes back and has a huge game and looks super healthy and really good. It's just we need to maybe not play him every single game. Like, what if he doesn't play tonight because it's the second night of a back-to-back? I think we need him. I think that he's only been back for 1 game. And even though it's a back-to-back, it is in Chicago. It is like his home state. And he does have a whole bunch of people coming to the game tonight that he bought tickets for. In fact, he did it. He had it on his Instagram. He did some sort of charity thing where he gave like 250 tickets to underprivileged kids in the Chicago area to go to the game tonight. So you go, Fred. Once again, Raptors world killing it and just excelling and doing awesome things in this world. With Drake with his album, Fred VanVleet doing a nice thing for the kids of Chicago to be able to come to the game tonight. So I think he will play tonight, even though it's in the second night of a back-to-back, and he has missed games recently. And maybe it's a smart strategy to hold him out of 1 and 2 games in a back-to-back for later in the season as we go. But I think we need him just because the matchup's conducive for him and is good, obviously, from last night. And Pascal, we're going to have to weather this absence. And that Fred is all hands on deck, that he may need to play more and not have any rest games until Pascal comes back. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Cool Cat saying for the Bulls game, it required IQ, skills, and a veteran experience to win this game. We could not bring in the youngins. Also, he is focusing on getting game shape. He said that about OG's game shape. Okay. Yeah, these are good goals to have. And that may be part of the reason why we didn't see Delano Banton or Malachi Flynn in the game last night, for sure. Lolita saying give Fred load management. He deserved it. Yeah. Leslie saying basketball and tennis are changing the face of Canadian sports, where we've been going through a steady transition and growth in these sports. So many more Canadian athletes are succeeding. Yeah. And Drescu and, there's different Canadian tennis players that are coming up. It's fantastic. But yeah, basketball especially. That's definitely what I know and I see is all the great players like Lou Dort, Jamal Murray, SGA, Dylan Brooks. There's so many good Canadian players in the league, and we are shaping the league. And it's also happened on the female side. Also, there's many more good Canadian female players also playing in basketball. So I love it. I love the growth in both those sports. I love to see Bianca Andreescu do very well in tennis. That makes me very happy. Mike says it's a key thing in this. Siakam is like top 1% in the world, easy. VO2 max is the body's ability to develop oxygen to the muscles, increasing stamina and never hitting fatigue. Yeah. Like Siakam, the way he works is crazy. Like he works too hard. And he said last year, I can't afford to be tired because they count on me to be out there every single minute, every single game. And he really has conditioned his body to a point where he doesn't get exhausted. He's like he has another level past exhaustion. And in some ways, that helps him against competition because where other guys may be flagging and failing and falling off, Pascal's getting stronger because he's conditioned himself through so much crazy workout. They say he's always there in the morning, way before everyone, and he stays the latest. That's classic superstar kind of stuff that Jordan and Kobe would do. They're always there, always working. Well, that's Pascal for our team. And Tom Duga's got a B. Yeah, it's been flying around. It was in here. We got it out of here and stuff like that. Okay, this is where the B was. Daddy Gates saying, I wonder how much OG bench presses. He's a strong dude, built like a linebacker. Well, let's think about how he picked up whatchamacallit, the Dennis Schroeder that one game. He picked him up like he was nothing and flipped him on his head like he was nothing. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know the details on this. Maybe we should ask Scotty in his Twitch next time. He might know. He might be able to tell us. He could probably tell us what he's benching. I may be like, hey, Scotty, what are you benching? And what is OG benching? I mean, he can probably tell us. So maybe we can find out from Scott. We'll ask him next chance we get on Twitch. Let's see. Andrew Bishop saying, I think you should move on from Barnstormer. Ha. Yeah, I think I should move on from it too. I thought it was just witty. It puts the Barnes in there, and it really has a kind of an airplane kind of like flow and go to the basket and dunk it kind of field. I don't know. I think I won't totally give up on it, but maybe you're right, Andrew. I'll bring it out every once in a while. But yeah, Scotty didn't react to it, so I don't think he likes it. Seymour saying, yell out Adrian like Rocky did. Yo, Adrian! Oh, I did it! Shane Waters is saying, morning, I ate a nice plate of crow last night for saying start Thad over Koloko. Koloko stayed out of foul trouble and was a beast. Thad had himself a game, though, and had the highest plus minus at plus 25. Yeah. I don't know. I was the same thing yesterday, Shane. We both said don't play Koloko to that person who asked, and we were stupid. We should have just said no, play Koloko. But we didn't really know he was going to turn it up a little bit, get more rebounds, and get some more points, and then the 6 blocks. That's such good stuff for an NBA team on their fantasy team. You get those 6 blocks from Koloko on your fantasy team. That's a boost right there. That's a lot of blocks in one game for one guy. Now, I have to say, this is a really astute pickup by Omari. He had the guts to go and pick up Goran in the morning yesterday. He played him in the game last night, and he got all the threes and the points from Goran Dragic's performance against us last night. So you go ahead, Duppy Conquerors, go and get in the opposition, the enemy. But that's smart in a way. In a Raptors Freak League, nobody wants Goran Dragic. Well, Omari woke up in the morning and said, you know what? I have a feeling about Dragic. I see his stat line for the Bulls off the bench recently. I think he's going to come to Toronto and do something. He was right. And it was a very good fantasy play by Omari and Duppy Conquerors last night. I know you'll watch this at another time and later on today, Omari, and you'll see me complimenting you. All right, who's calling me? I do not want any calls right now. We will turn this off. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Mike's out of bullets. All right, Paul B. Impression. The Wasp getting thrown out of the Raptors Freaks place. I mean, you got to get the cup and paper method. You get the cup, you get a cup, and you get a flat piece of paper, and you get it on that piece of paper, and then you put the cup on them, and you hold them in it, and you carry him out safely, and then you let him out outside. And that's what I did in that instance earlier. And now I'll tell you right now, that wasp was about this big, y'all. That's why when he came into the room, he flew in from the hallway. And I was like, what the fuck is coming in the room? I'm on the stream right now. And I had to look at it, and I was like, that's very big. And then I was like, holy shit, that's a wasp. So it was an emergency. I'm sorry it took me away from the stream at that moment, but it needed to be taken care of. And I hope that impression was kind of good. I don't know. Just for you, Paul B. All right, there you go. All right, yeah, the wasp hunt. You never know what's going to happen on here. In fact, in some ways, I'm like, I used to control the environment here. I really want it to be quiet and not have anything weird happen. But in some ways, I kind of want interruptions now just to make it interesting. Like maybe somebody knocks on my door all of a sudden, or like Adriana comes out here and has to talk to me, or all of a sudden in the middle of it. I don't know. I am going 2.5 hours already, and she's being very patient in there. I think she's watching Judge Judy in the other room right now. She watches Judge Judy on her phone a lot, which is cool. Let's see. Shane saying freeze the wasp, tie a string around it, and attach it to Justin Bieber. That would be something else. Well, I really am trying to not kill animals at any level, other than certain ones that are pests in the house. But wasp is something like you're not supposed to be here, and I want to not kill you. I'll go ahead and put you outside, and that's what I did. But yeah, Justin Bieber is behind me. I guess you guys could have seen him. He's like kind of hiding behind me. Here he is. He's here. Hey guys. Yeah, he's not really. He's kind of a defunct character on this show. He'll come back. Be around from time to time, but he's not necessarily a daily thing. Mason saying, as always, thanks Lex for the stream, and as always, go Raps. Yes, let's win tonight. Keep the win tonight. All right, we got to play Billy Donovan's team for a second time. We got to see what Billy Donovan's got. He figured out about what he wants to do different. This is not a normal coach. He's a good coach. He's very smart. And he's going to take the tape from last night and he's going to look at some of the things we did with our defense and the things we were doing crashing the board. And he's going to try and figure out solutions. So we're going to have to adjust also. And maybe hopefully Nick Nurse is doing the counterbalance as far as looking at things that they did. And maybe we can improve on to beat them more, even worse tonight. So the battle of adjustments, the coaching battle between Billy Donovan and Nick Nurse is the key tonight in the victory. The players got to, of course, come and show up and do the energy and put in the work. But the adjustments battle is going to be the fun thing to watch tonight. Chicago and Toronto in Chicago tonight. Yeah. Let's see. Patrick Douglas saying, Lex, laugh out loud. You're catching a wasp. That's funny. Big ups. OG, remember we're pushing him for Defensive Player of the Year. That was impressive too. I like that. Yeah. Let's just keep putting it out there. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2023, O.G.Anunoby Defensive Player of the Year. This is what we do. Scotty Roy, Pascal All-NBA, Freddie All-Star. Matt Devlin calls those things out on his calls. He puts it out there. So keep saying it, Matt Devlin. O.G.Anunoby, Defensive Player of the Year. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2023. Speak it into existence, Raptor fans. Because they may not believe in us. The media may not believe in us. Other average Toronto sports fans may not believe in us. But the Raptor Freak Cult, we believe in the Raptors winning Larry O'Brien this year. And why not? Why the fuck not can we win a championship this year? With that makeup of mix of veterans and youth and athleticism and versatility and brilliance and just good culture and doing things right. Role players. This is a championship caliber team. This has the makeup of champions. We have champions already on the team. We have guys who know how to do this. Why are we sullying us and saying that the Raptors aren't a real legit contender this year? Only because that's the noise we hear from the media. And that's bullshit. And Mike is right. Project Truth. It starts right now. The truth is we're good. And we're good enough. Stuart Smalley. God damn it. We're good enough. And gosh darn it, I like you, Stuart Smalley. Old Saturday Night Live clip. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. We believe it and we think it will happen. It could happen. Andrew Bishop is saying Doug is an idiot. Yes, Doug Smith is an idiot half the time. He annoys me sometimes. Like he was being snarky during the game last night, tweeting, oh, the Raptors won't do this. They keep rebounding like this, and they won't do this. He's not a believer. He still remembers all the time the Raptors were absolute shit. And he bases a lot of what he thinks about the Raptors some ways. Sometimes it's about journalistic integrity and being unfair and unbiased. Well, also, you just kind of put down the Raptors for no reason sometimes, Doug. I see what you're tweeting on your tweets. And yeah, I replied to you about Goran Dragic and us booing him last night. I told you exactly why. We have an enmity that is built up for years of battling this creep, this goon, a dirty player, and when he was on the Miami Heat. Yeah, that's it. Cool Cat saying, awesome WASP adventure. Nurse managing 30 minutes for long term. We learned from Kyle, Kawhi, Mark, managing older players. Careful with Otto Porter too. Long-term vision at play. Yes. How do you guys feel this morning? How are you feeling, Otto? Well, if your ankle's just a little bit off, you know what? Maybe we'll just rest you tonight. Just err on the side of caution. Oh, Fred, your back's a little tight. Okay, we'll take a game or two off. No problem. We just have somebody else come and fill in for you. That's a good way to run things. You have a good staff, more than enough people. You don't have to rely on some person that's absolutely the anchor, the most important person at your workplace, and you're overworking them like crazy hours. And if they're not there, everything falls to shit. No, we don't have a staff like that. We have more than enough staff. We can fill the hours, we can fill the shifts and get the job done in a way that doesn't stress one person out, where they're being overworked and they have to be relied on way too much. It's not like that with the Raptors. We have a very good balanced roster to choose from. And I love that so much. Leslie is saying, thanks for the kind wishes, Lex. We had so much fun. Awesome, Leslie. And I'm glad to hear that you had a fantastic anniversary celebration at the game yesterday, watching the Raptors beat the Bulls. Cool Cat saying, OG could make All-Star this year in addition to Defensive Player of the Year. Fans are the sixth man, and we determine how to support our team. Boo and Dragic is fair game as long as we want. Yeah. Yeah. Like, why is everybody trying to tell everybody what they can and can't do? I understand we talking about the Kyrie stuff, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but they really are kind of telling him what he can and can't do. Is this a free country or not? I may not agree with what he's putting out there, but in some ways, freedom is important to be able to do what you want to do, as long as it's not hurting anyone. Well, what Kyrie's doing is kind of hurting someone. And the stuff that we do on the court, is that really hurting Goran? As long as nobody's throwing things like somebody threw at Luka in Brooklyn the other day, as long as nobody's really being ugly with their language, as far as like really dirty words and maybe saying personal things to players on the that are on the court, like what happened with Russell Westbrook last year. I don't see any problem with fans expressing themselves in the classic sports ways of cheering and booing. That is just the way it's always been. They want reactions in wrestling. If you don't get any reactions from the fans, then you're not doing good wrestling. You want people to either hate you or really love you and cheer for you. If nobody has anything and they don't care and they're just sitting there, then that sucks. That's a really dead crowd. So I love that our crowd is expressive, and I love that they booed him every time he touched the ball. There's nothing wrong with that. And in some ways that does get in his head. Trust me. When we were at the game against Brooklyn last year that Goran came back and returned, he had a couple of important free throws that he had to shoot in that game, and we only won that game by 1 point. He missed 2 crucial free throws in that game, partly because the crowd was jeering him and booing him so loudly. He may not admit that was a factor, but for damn sure that he wouldn't have missed 2 free throws like he did if he didn't have the crowd in his ear like that. So what we're doing is actually very helpful and is a part of helping the team to win. You get inside his head. These people think that he's in our heads. Fuck that. We're in his head. And that's why that happens. Yeah, you yourself there, Goran. Yeah. Fiercey Salsera. I love that name, Fiercey. That's pretty cool. It seems like that should be what Precious's real name is. His name's not Precious. His name's Fiercey. Dragic could have been laying low once playing and benching elsewhere, but he tweeted when we lost against Philly. Idiot. I know, that's the thing. It's like, if we're not supposed to hate him, we're not supposed to boo him. Why is he giving us all these villainous reasons to hate him? Like, he has nothing to do with us anymore. And he does little salty little tweets and little fuck you and your higher ambitions, your bullshit. Yeah, your higher ambitions would get swept by the Boston Celtics when you're on the Nets. And we did better than that. And I think that our team this year is better than the Bulls team that you're on. So I don't know what your higher ambitions are. Maybe you're talking about smoking some drugs. You have higher ambitions to be higher. Oh, I'm so high. I don't know. Maybe you should be doing the hookah in Dallas with Luka. Why the fuck aren't you on the Dallas Mavericks this year? In fact, that's the fail right there. You're supposed to be coming home and being Uncle Goran to Luka Doncic in Dallas, but you're not even on that team. You're in Chicago. What the fuck? It's very weird. Very, very weird. He is an idiot. Thank you, Fiercey. Andrew Bishop saying Goran doesn't play and Fred gets worn out. Fuck him. Fred. All right, let's see. Mason Culligan saying Goran is a selfish player. That's why we boo him. He's a bad teammate and a selfish player on and off the court. I mean, he is a selfish as far as he's not a very good passer for a point guard in some ways. I won't say he's a bad teammate. I think most people like having him on the team, but he's very much one of those guys that you like when he's on your team because he does dirty work. He's a dirty player. But when he's not on your team, you hate him. It's like Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is the same kind of guy. And that's part of it. Goran does a lot of dirty work for a guard. He does like big man kind of dirty work at the guard position. And he'll take cheap shots and hit people. When he was younger, he was much dirtier and very dangerous. He would hurt people possibly in very bad ways. In fact, that he did something to one of our Raptors in the playoffs. This is why I don't forgive him. I boo him to this day. It's not necessarily because of what he did last year. It's because he almost hurt DeMar DeRozan, I believe, and really almost injured him very badly by a very dirty play in a playoff game in like 7 years ago. And I don't forget that shit. That's part of the reason why I boo him to this day. Daddy Gates is saying, exactly, bro. I find the Canadian sports media too soft. Canadian sports media needs to be much more petty. They have to be they have a right to be the way the American media treats us. Well, we got to look at it the objectives of the different medias. The American sports media does not cover us because we're not their market. We're not in their target market. They have their own stuff. We just see it because it's of the internet and we can see all the clips from ESPN. But technically, they're not making that content for us. And that's why it's very centered around the other 29 teams other than us. Now, the problem with the 8 media on this side of the border is it's very much centric towards hockey. The people in sports here love hockey and they want to cover hockey. You look at TSN and the content on their channel is going to be curling, hockey, all these other sports, and basketball is an afterthought, even on TSN. And then you look at Sportsnet, and that's Rogers Sportsnet. And that is a baseball channel. That is a channel that's very much built for the Blue Jays and put around Blue Jays baseball. Then basketball is a second thought. So that is part of the problem with the way the Canadian media covers the NBA, is that there is a small contingency of people that cover it now that are very, very specifically NBA, and they're good. I love Kate Burness, Leo Routens, Kayla, Kia Nurse, Sam Mitchell, all these guys. But then there were a lot of people back in the day that were hockey people that were covering basketball, and they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. It was really annoying. So the hockey, the Canadian basketball media is young still, and they're still growing and learning. And we've gotten to a new level with our fandom that we're much more educated and understanding. It was really, we needed to educate the Canadian fans through Leo and Jack Armstrong and the games, teaching the game to us. Well, now we know we've won a championship. And now really we're asking for an upgrade in the media content about the Raptors. That y'all need to up y'all's game. Y'all can't do just this cream puff case stories. Oh, Scotty Barnes is a nice young kid from Florida that's on the team now. We want in-depth shit because we're a smarter fan base now. And we know when you're just kind of putting out bullshit. So yeah, get your act together and reflect the ever-changing fandom of the Raptors, which is more intelligent, more passionate, and more loyal. And, that's part of it too. In the past, you guys in journalism in the NBA here in Canada, like Doug Smith, you could get away with playing both fences and being kind of critical and negative about the Raptors in your pieces. Well, now we care about this team. We love this team. And when you talk them down or talk them badly in your media, we hate you. Because we want to believe in the best positive things happening to them. So if you want to write about all these sabotage stories, or Masai Ujiri could be going to the Washington Wizards, lured away, Michael Grange, then we're going to hate you for that because we love our team. We want it to succeed. And every time you write an article or something like that that's kind of negative, or maybe talking about a scenario that's not good for the Raptors, fuck you, is what I'll say as a passionate Raptor fan that's positive and loves the team. We don't need y'all's noise. Don't even write something if you're going to write something like that, is what I will say. So there's basically my whole thing on the Canadian sports media and why it's like that. They care more about hockey and baseball than they do basketball. That's why we're on TSN 4. And you have to have like 5 fucking cable packages to watch the basketball game. All right, let's keep going. Monique saying, Vince noticing Pascal's game now is very sad. He's out. We appreciate you, Vince, for who knew this would happen. It is sad, but it is okay too. Like in some ways, it may be a blessing in disguise. This, like I said, this is a period of the schedule we can weather not having Pascal the best, and that it may be a little tougher at other times. So the timing of this is actually pretty good if it was going to happen. And may be good for Pascal as far as wear and tear for over the season, and that this rest may actually be good for him, and he may be stronger later on. This is the thing I'm going to do. We can spin anything in a negative or positive thing. I'm not going to spin this in a negative. Oh, no, the world is horrible. Pascal's not available. This is awful. Well, let's pick up the pieces and make the positives of it. Because it's very true in your life. You want to focus on the negative things in your life, then that's all you have. You want to focus on the positive things, then that's what you have. And the positive thing is, this is an opportunity for other guys to step up and do well. And Pascal can get rest. And maybe this means better things in the long term near the playoffs for his health. That he's hurt now, maybe he has more rest and he's very healthy for the rest of the year after this. So this is good. It's good. Leslie's saying Goran was booed so badly last night. It was embarrassing. Derozan got cheers. A weird energy for one team. And rightfully so. I mean, they really are at the two ends of the spectrum. You got DeMar DeRozan, who's like a god here. He's a six god. We love him here in Toronto. He was a sacrificial lamb for our championship, and it sucks. I hate that so much. Some ways, if I could change it to the championship ring goes to DeMar over Kawhi, I would. If I would take that ring from Kawhi and give it to DeMar, because in some ways I feel like he deserves it in a way. So yeah, and then you got Goran. So there's really two ends of the spectrum, and it's fun to see. And it is kind of interesting to see that how we can change hot to cold with our cheering for DeMar and our booing for Goran. Nameless is saying it would be nice if Wancho contributed like Otto. They're different players. Otto is so much more established and just really knows his thing. Wancho's never really established himself as fully an NBA player yet. He's this fringe dude who has a lot of skills, and he's close, but he's also not totally close to ever have really made his mark. And this is who I am in the NBA. He's still kind of figuring that out. So it is what it is. He's good insurance, and there's all kinds of good intangibles about having him on this team. I've talked about him. Whether it is him winning Eurobasket this summer and being a winner coming into our team with that kind of winning feel of winning that tournament this summer in Europe, that's a big deal. And then the other stuff like him being in the movie, Bo Cruz, that is a huge thing to have around. Like that makes them feel like, wow, we have some prestige. We have a Hollywood actor on our team. I know Scotty in particular is starstruck by having Bo Cruz on the team with him, and that he really enjoys having him as a teammate. And sometimes that's a good vibe kind of culture thing. Maybe not totally necessarily him playing in games all the time, but just his presence and him being on the team is good for that kind of stuff. And in some ways, he might end up being like our human victory cigar. It may be like we win games and it's garbage time and we put Wancho in, and that just signifies we won and Wancho's in the game and everybody can cheer. We're not hearing things like in Houston where people are chanting for Boban to get put into the game in blowouts. For Wancho, like, is our fans going to start cheering when we're up by 20 in a fourth quarter game? They say, put in Wancho, Bo Cruz. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know. But that's kind of where I see him as far as on our roster, is he's really at the end of the bench. And in some ways, he may be like a human victory cigar. I know that term's kind of demeaning, but it is that kind of player like Boban or Taco Fall or something like that. Wancho's a little bit like that just because he's Bo Cruz. Let's see. Logical saying brothers called the Mavs game and called Dinwiddie a name when Dinwiddie reacted to a call. Yeah, I talked about this yesterday, Mike, on the stream. He called him a bitch ass motherfucker is what he called him. And Spencer's being kind of funny about it too. He's like, I don't mind him calling me that, but I think this is so comical. And I love you, Tony Brothers, for calling Spencer Dinwiddie a bitch ass motherfucker in the game the other night. That's fun. I love that kind of story. It's hilarious. In some ways, it's just comedy. It's just comedy. I want to believe it. I want to believe it's true. And it probably is true. He probably did call him a bitch ass motherfucker. He was being a little bit like a bitch ass motherfucker in that moment. So I don't blame Tony Brothers calling him a bitch ass motherfucker. Monique saying 10 games in. I like where we are. 600. I love it. That's a great mark. We're not 5-5. We're not 4-6. We're not 3-7. We're 6-4. And that's very good considering the 10 games we've had so far this season. Daddy's saying it's like the Canadian sports media is afraid of these American counterparts. Like they don't want to ruffle any feathers down south. I wish they were more petty. Stop being so nice. It is a symptom of just Canadians in general and our stigma of being very nice. I'm a weird hybrid Canadian. I'm American also. I'm Canadian born in Toronto, 1975, but I was raised in Tallahassee, Florida, and went to Florida State. So my sports fandom is very American. And that's part of the reason why I'm a little bit different than the people here in Toronto. I'm very loyal to Toronto and I love Toronto. I've been Canadian my whole life and very much root for Toronto teams, always have. It's just that I have a style of rooting from going to Florida State Seminoles college football games and being there for the Bobby Bowden era. When I was in school, I saw Charlie Ward play for the Seminoles and get his Heisman in our national championship. I saw the way that the Seminoles nation treated the FSU team, and they couldn't do anything wrong. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we could be like this more with the Raptors, that our team, our fan nation is so toxic and turns and is so critical and so negative about the team. What if I could bring some of this blind spin of positivity towards the FSU Seminoles, the football fans have down south, to the Raptors nation and how we treat the Raptors? Because really, this is what I'm ripping off. Is Seminoles fans would look at the positive at any kind of situation. It could be the worst thing. It could be Deion Sanders just robbed a couple of convenience stores, like he did when he was playing for the Seminoles. And I was a kid in the 80s. Deion was on our team, and he went and robbed a couple convenience stores in Tallahassee, and he got in big trouble. Well, the spin machine, the thing that is around the Florida State Seminoles football program, protected him, and all the fans were like, we don't care. That's Deion. We want him to play for us. They look the other way, and that's toxic in a way. But also, it's very much how you support your team blindly and positively. And that's where I learned it. That's part of the reason why the Raptor Freak is who he is he's a Seminole also. And he grew up in the Seminole football nation in the 80s and 90s and saw the way we treated our team in Tallahassee. And I just wanted us to be a little bit more like that. Have blind faith, believe in your team, stand by them through the tough times, and just be positive about them in every aspect, because that's really what they do in Tallahassee. Bobby Bowden could do no wrong at that time. He was the mayor of Tallahassee. Everybody loved him, and the team was the most important thing. And we all thought positive, good things about him. And you know what? They won, and they did good things. So I'm like, this, maybe we can apply this to Toronto with the Raptors. And that's really what I was starting to think. And it is partly that Canadians are too nice. You're right. But I don't think this is about our media versus their media, because our media people aren't going to stand up and fight them over how the Raptors are versus them. It really is up to us, the fans. Leo may say it. Yeah, I could see Leo getting in there and getting in a little edge and saying, yeah, the people down south aren't talking about the Raptors enough as far as them being a championship contender. And say, I think they're really stupid for that. Leo's a little outspoken like that. We've heard Sam Mitchell say some good things about the Raptors this season, which is weird because usually he's a naysayer, kind of a negative ninny about the Raptors and their chances, but he's actually promoting them and saying they're going to be good this year. So something's weird with that. But I don't think it's the American counterpoints versus the Canadian counterpoints. It's really us versus the American media. It's the fans. We got to do it ourselves. We can't depend on the Canadian people. I don't know what they're going to do anyway. What are they going to say? They're just going to be them, do what they're already doing. Patrick Douglas is saying, during the Rico runs, players were urged to play without fouls. Do you remember? It's helping us when we need to get clean stops. Yeah, Jeff Dowtin was fouling people too much at one point, and Fred got really mad at him. He yelled at him. He's like, "You're fouling every single time, Jeff." And they had to come down on him. And that's what Rico was saying in a couple of the clips. You're right, Patrick. I saw this. He said, y'all are playing too dirty. Play smart. You're playing lazy. You're not playing right. You're fouling everybody. You don't need to be doing that. And maybe that training and that repetition of that this summer and at UCLA was very helpful this season, like you're saying, at not committing fouls and making clean steals and doing things cleanly like that. Very good observation, Patrick, and a linkage to some of the work at Rico runs and what might be why we're doing a better job with stealing the ball without getting fouls and doing smart things. Duke's saying we would have blown him out if we shot the ball better. Tonight, I believe Levine is back, but if we shoot better, we could go back-to-back wins. Yeah, I think you're right. We could have done a couple of things a little bit better, but it's all just the equation of what it comes to down to the end and the W. Was Zach LaVine's going to be a part of the equation tonight? Well, we probably do need to shoot better than we did last night. I think Duke's right. Daddy's saying Zach being out affected them a lot last night, and Colby being out hurt their bench too. Yeah, Kobe White actually is annoying as their backup point guard. And I have no problem. Andre Drummond's another one. If they're full strength, they're scary. Lonzo Ball, Andre Drummond, Zach LaVine, Kobe White, these were guys that were all missing yesterday. And you can see how they would help them. Andre Drummond's been absolutely fantastic for them early in the season off the bench. He's doubling off the bench and being a fantastic backup for Vucevic. So they're a full complement. When they're actually all healthy there, they're very scary. And we're going to see them again later on in the season. It may be good we're seeing them right now with some of these injuries because later on in the season, they may have Lonzo back, Drummond back. and they may be healthier and they may be a much bigger test in later games this season. Callie's saying, I love OG. He looks so nimble on defense, but on offense, he looks clumsy. Maybe he's just so muscular. I'm not sure why. He's very methodical and plotting. He's kind of very like, I don't even know how to put it. You know, the players have their own body rhythm, their rhythm of play, the way that they're most comfortable and they play the best. OG's rhythm of play is like a bass line. It's a very deep note. It's like boom, boom. Some people are like they're high C or something like that. Well, he's like a flat. He's a B flat. The way he plays is like if that's his note. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a good thing either way. Like let's just let OG be OG. I mean, he may look awkward as fuck sometimes, but he's doing good things. Thank you, Nameless. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had some good numbers today. Monique is saying in the fifth seed when I last checked. Yeah, we are in the fifth seed currently, just above, or Atlanta's just above us. I think Atlanta's above us right now, which doesn't make any sense considering we kicked their ass so bad. Yeah, we're right in there. I'm telling you, we're going to be in the top 3 by the end of the year, if not number 1. We will be the number 1 team in the East. I think we will. Although Milwaukee's perfect right now, and it may be that they're making some really good high places, but I think we'll overcome Cleveland. It may be like it's Milwaukee number 1 and we're number 2. That may be how it ends up by the end of the year. I kind of see that way. Duke saying, I've been waiting for this game from Koloko. Scotty would have had more triple-double if we shot better. So many open look clankers. Yeah, Scotty, how many assists did he get? He only got 4 assists. It was really Freddie who was being the distributor last night with 11. Yeah, I'd love to see more triple doubles from Scotty. And maybe they were missing a couple shots, he was saying. Andrew saying, I'm out. Cheers. Respect Andrew Bishop. Maybe you'll watch it the rest of it later. Nameless saying, if you like the content or new here, please drop a like, please, and subscribe. I know, obviously, if you guys are commenting in here, you have subscribed. But if you are watching me without subscribing or not commenting here, please just hit the subscribe button, because then you'll get my live streams every single morning. I'm doing this every day. So we're talking Raptors very thoroughly. It's very thoroughly, right, Adriana?
Very thoroughly.
Very thoroughly. Oh, you're eating your breakfast?
Yes, I'm putting in the microwave just so you know.
Okay, yeah, you can make a little noise. It's all good. You know, you need to live your life. I can't put your whole life on pause just because I'm talking to people online for like 3 hours. Let's see. Sue saying, I think it's great when different guys are the big scorer of the night. It shows how deep we are, and it's hard for other teams to decide who they should concentrate on. Flexibility is key for us. Yes. And if they are successfully stopping something, we have more options to possibly go towards because we test more often all the time, different flexible, different ideas, depending on what's going on. They make an adjustment. Something's there in the first half. They make an adjustment at halftime and they take it away from us. Well, maybe there's something else we can go do right away and it won't miss a beat. And it's no problem. The versatility and flexibility is a huge strength for the Raptors team, for sure. All right, I really got to catch up. You guys had a lot to say today, and I love it. I love it because there was a lot to say about the game last night. Nameless is saying Scotty's jumper has improved tremendously. Yes, when he shoots it correctly, he's not chucking it. He's way better shooter, and I love the stuff near the basket. The English off his hand and the spin is very Kawhi-like, and it's getting the good spin off the backboard and off the rim into the hoop. Monique saying Scotty's threes too. Nameless, yes. Logical saying Lex cooking on the development point. On every dark cloud has a silver lining and chance to grow and learn. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's right, Mike. And I know you're seeing this in your own journey for sure. Continue to believe this and apply this to stuff. You know, I was really blown away by your content yesterday when I watched it. You're a very astute person and you're very objective with yourself. I can tell that you are a student of life and that you're learning as you go. And because you have that attitude and the way you're doing that, Mike, you're going to go far. That this is the way people are successful, is that they listen and they understand and they take in information and they adjust and they get better. And this is what we're talking about today. And it can be applied to the players. It can be applied to you and to me. It can be applied to everyone in their own lives. And I appreciate somebody who's not like, oh, I know everything and nobody can teach me anything. I really have a lot of respect for people that are trying to get better and take in information and make adjustments and learn from it, like Koloko and Scotty. That you're like them. You are a sponge too. You're soaking up stuff that we're saying here, and you're making adjustments to your YouTube channel. And it, like I did with Raymond Jacob yesterday, you can't be so like, oh, I just know everything. When you get to that point, you suck and you're worthless. You got to be somebody who says, I don't know shit. And I'm constantly need to be learning. And that is the best way to be as a person. Is the people that think they know it all, they're idiots. They don't know shit. The smartest person knows I don't know shit. Duke saying Koloko has jumped to 13th overall in the rookie race, according to hashtag basketball. Soon to be top 10 and hopefully in the running for rookie of the year. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. I mean, you got Keegan Murray, you got Jaden Ivey, you got Ben Mathurian, you got, Paolo. There's so many big names at the top of the draft that are going to do offensive things. They're going to get the shine. So I don't think it's realistic for us to really think Koloko will get Defensive Player of the Year. Now, I think it's very realistic for us to maybe consider him getting an all-rookie team of one of those teams. I think that very much could happen. But yeah, I'd like to see him rise in those ranks, especially since he was the 35th pick or something like that in the draft. He's in the 30s. And if he's in the top 10 of the rookie rankings, well, we got some value. We got some good value right there. Mike's saying Lex is in camp project. Truth, no doubt. I feel your honesty always, and that's why I enjoy coming here every day. I appreciate that, Mike. And like I said, what I just said about you, man, honestly, you blew me away with some of the stuff you said on your stream, that your content that I watched yesterday. That you're a really smart guy, and I know you're going to do good things because you're making adjustments and you're listening, and that's fantastic, man. That's so good. Now, a lot of people are too stubborn, they're too in their ego to understand that, sometimes maybe people will give you good advice and they'll help you. That's the way I have to do things. I mess up and I'm an idiot all the time, but I love hearing feedback from people because it does really help me. Let's see. Monique saying 3 stars of the 905 were Vital, Saban, and no one else. Perry was frustrated, as I said in the Facebook group. Yeah, Reggie Perry had a little bit of trouble. They look undersized this year for some reason. I think they could use Koloko down there because Reggie isn't totally really a real center. And some of the 905 opponents have real centers, and we will be undersized against them with the personnel that we have right now. So your favorite two were Christian Vital and Saban Lee. That's fantastic. I know Jeff Doughton didn't have a very sharp game, and Ron Harper didn't rise up like he did in the other game. So, okay, thank you, Monique, for your 3 stars from the game. Just 2 stars for the 905 game yesterday, the loss to Capital City Go-Go in the second game of the season. Hot Take Jay's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak, tuning in at work. Good to see you, Hot Take Jay. Always appreciate your hot takes. Mike's saying there's a lot of trolls that are unchecked in the Raptor spaces, and they get ultra brave when the others agreeing with them, and then they take that stuff to others' NBA chats, and the real basketball fans see. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that Raptor fans can be toxic. Turning on their players too quickly, saying they want Fred traded, saying Fred's garbage, saying Pascal's this or that. This is true. And what I want to say also, Mike, is remember, not everybody who comes into these spaces, they may portray themselves as Raptor fans, but they're not. They could be a couple different things. They could be Boston fans. They could be Philly fans. They could be fans of other NBA teams, but they can also be Canadian people that hate basketball, and they're hockey people. And they're coming in and they're kind of trying to cause problems and stuff like that in that way, that they don't want basketball to succeed here, and that they may be in information more like this. Now, what we're talking about right here is imposters infiltrating spaces, acting like they're one thing and they're not, and they have an agenda for what they're trying to do. Apply that to the political world. And think about how you could have insidious people come into like political spaces and cause a ruckus like this in those kind of ways also. So you got to remember there's agent provocateurs out there that are trying to get rises out of people or change the perception of things by doing manipulative things like this, that they aren't always who they seem. That sometimes these fans that are supposedly Raptor fans, they're not. They're not fans. They're just people that they may say they're fans, but they maybe just hate their life and they're very critical, ugly people. Or they may be fans of other sports. They may be more of a hockey fan and they hate basketball and they're sullying the game in this way. And that's how they do it. All right, let's keep going. Eminem Stand featuring Dido. I don't know the lyrics. I know the tune. Dear Stan, blah, 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 blah. He's like he's going to the bridge in the car, and like his girlfriend's in the trunk. That's messed up, Eminem. That's not good. Let's see. Monique saying my Raptors schedule for November so far: 9th, 16th, and 23rd. These are the games Monique will be appearing at the game. She will be at the November game on the 9th, the 16th, and the 23rd. Cool. I have not get a game set up next. I don't know when I'm going to my next game. Greg and I are supposed to go to a 9:05 game. We were supposed to go Friday, but I can't go this Friday. We're going to go to another one, but I don't have any tickets for another Raptor game right now. I should probably go get some tickets for another Raptor game. Yeah. Adriana, we got to get some more Raptor tickets. Yeah. Yeah. Banana Bread Tan saying, good to see you, Banana Bread Tan, by the way. Is it me or is OG moving like a football player with the ball in his hands? It's like he gets the ball and turns on the Jets. There was a point where Alvin name dropped a football player like a fullback. And he said he's playing like a fullback. So, yeah, I think you're right. Alvin Williams was saying that in the game last night that I forget. I don't know the name he dropped because I don't follow the NFL. But he name dropped some fullback. And he said that the move that OG had just made to the basket was very much like a 1 yard, a 4th and 1 kind of thing where you're on the line. It's 4th and 1. You got to get that one last yard. And you just hand it off to the fullback. And he just takes you home, like right through, right through. And that's kind of what OG did on one play to score, was he bowled through like a 4th and 1 and scored that way. And I think that's an accurate comparison because OG, what we're saying, we don't know what he benches. We know this dude's super strong and he is kind of playing like football. There are very much ways you can look like a football game on a basketball court, whether it's a Kyle Lowry long pass. And they also said that OG looked like a DB the other day with one of the steals against Dallas. The way he filled the passing lane and he just ran right through, grabbed it, and then dunked it. The Dallas announcers said that. They say he looked like a defensive back on a football field. The way he intercepted that inbounds pass and threw it down. So, yeah, maybe OG's playing the wrong sport. Maybe he's a hybrid basketball football player. I love it. I love it. You go, OG. You be as awkward and clumsy and weird as possible. Just as long, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing things. The steals especially. Duke Rocks is saying, I've been listening to some other fan bases after a Raptors win, and when they talk about the Raptors defense, the word that comes to mind with them is breathtaking. Oh, I love hearing that. That's awesome. Like I said, other fans have to appreciate the Raptors style of play because we're hard-nosed, blue-collar, hard-working, work together kind of team, working with each other. And that's just a beautiful thing to see. Like part of what's beautiful about basketball is it's 5 people on a court working in together as a unit. And when they work together off each other and it looks so great, it's like beautiful music. It's like Nick Nurse has called it jazz. He really makes this comparison to basketball being jazz music. And that you so like the music the Raptors is playing as basketball right now is beautiful music. It's a beautiful tune. And fans of other teams, even if they hate us, they're like, wow, I hate this team, but wow, they're beautiful to watch. Winning. Sue saying, I agree with that idea, Lex. Let Fred rest a game every few games because we need him for the playoffs. We developed a plan for Kawhi Leonard. We may as well do it again for Fred. Yes, the Kawhi Leonard, Alex McKechnie load management program. Let's put Fred VanVleet in there this year. And, you know, maybe some of the other guys get it a little bit too. Maybe Otto will get played a lot and he may need a load management game or something like that. We'll see. But yeah, I think this is the way to go. This is the way Greg's been talking about on his channel as far as don't cut his minutes, just cut how many games he plays. And I think that's really smart. Sue saying, I would be totally in with Mo and Evelyn for dinner with the Raptor Freaks. Let's start it up, ladies. Yes, Monique, talk to somebody in the franchise and tell them your idea. Dinner with the Raptors Freaks, the Raptor Freak ladies or something. I don't know. You guys call what you want and get a couple of y'all together. Evelyn, Sue, and you would be awesome. That would be a great threesome. And y'all just sit there and have conversations with the young men of the Raptors. It could be a little awkward. It could be a little funny. I could see the episode with OG being a gold, absolute gold. You let Evelyn sit there and talk to O.G.Anunoby, and it would be fun. I know Evelyn would say the right things. She would get that chance to talk to OG. She'd say some fun stuff. She may say some stuff that may make people be like, whoa, that's out of left field. Because Evelyn's like that. She'll say what's on her mind, and she may ask some things that some people will be a little embarrassed to ask. You go, Granny Evelyn, Raptor Free Granny Evelyn. I love this idea. Let's do it. All right, we'll figure it out. Summer Low saying, in my opinion, every time Precious stepped on the court, we started losing. I really can't stand seeing him on the court. Help. All right, let's do a little bit on Precious right now. Let's do some positive work for him. I get what you're saying, Summer. His plus minus is really bad. He's a minus 20 for last night. There's a couple of things that he's doing that look awkward, but in some ways he's not getting really the solid minutes like the other guys are getting. He only had 14 minutes. I know he's shooting not as well as he was, especially at three. His threes have not looked well like they did last season recently. But I will, all right, if we're going to start on the positives about Precious, let's do two things. First of all, his defensive presence is always on point. He is like OG. He's going to do a certain amount of effort on defense that even if he's not good on offense, he's doing shitty things. He's still a plus defender, one of our best plumbers. They can hopefully turn the water off on the other team's offense. Now, the other thing I'm going to say right now is that he's leading the league in defensive rebounding percentage. In some ways, he's one of the top leaders. And that means he's really zeroing in on the defensive end on getting the rebound and turning off the possession for the other team. That he is one of the biggest people on our team that is fighting against second chance points on the other team. That he goes and he just finds that ball on the defensive end. When it goes up, he's getting the defensive rebound. That he's getting a huge percentage of them. So maybe some of the things offensively don't look good for him right now. But know that he's a plus defender that does all kinds of good things to help stop the water from the other team's offense. And that he is defensive rebounding right now like a madman. And he looks so good. Like the Miami games for sure. He was the best player on the court for us in that Miami series, both games. But in the game since, yeah, he hasn't played as well, but he's still doing really solid rebounding when he's on the court and his defense are there. So in some ways, maybe we need to look at Precious similar to young OG. That OG would have stinker games offensively, but he's really keying in on his defense and rebounding work and being perfect at that night in, night out. So let's allow Precious to have the learning curve and the development curve like OG did. And maybe he only has 6 points a game sometimes. Maybe he has a really shitty offensive game, but he's giving us that good, consistent baseline of defense and defensive rebounding. And there's my stand for Precious this morning after what we've been talking about. So let's treat him like OG, young OG, and how he was treated with his offense and balancing the really good defense on top of it. Let's see. Mike is saying Nick Nurse said championship over like 30 to 40 times in his coaching interview. Yeah, they count. They should count this. It's like if somebody's saying like alcohol over and over again. Well, they probably like alcohol. They keep bringing up beers. Oh, you got to go get some beers. It's probably that's what they're about. Oh, you got to go win. Oh, he wants to win. Oh, this guy wants to get beers. Okay, well, this guy wants to win. All right, let's see. Click saying Drake's album was amazing. The samples he used were crazy. Yeah, there's a few songs on there. What's that song in the middle of the ocean or something? Man, that is such a woo kind of feel to it. It has a couple of changes in that song. They're really nice. Good job, Drake. Good job. Good job. Yes. Mike saying the Vucevic matchup was food for Konono. I missed it. Stuck on the sub loss. Not like this. All right. Vucevic, Koloko did better against Vucevic than we thought. Yesterday, we were talking about this. Is Vucevic a good matchup for Christian Koloko to start? And it actually worked out really well. Let's look at Vucevic. His stats last night were 35 minutes, 8 of 13. So he shot really well. 2 of 5 from 3. He did burn us for a couple threes. He had a double-double, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 18 points. That's a really solid game by him. But, listen, he wasn't – in some ways, would you say he played better than Koloko last night? Like, if you had to look at the matchups and your perception of just watching it and you didn't see the stats, would you say that Vucevic outplayed Koloko? Because he did technically. But I don't think he did in some ways, in winning ways, and kind of like battle ways. Koloko was blocking shots left and right and just getting good energy going. And Vucevic, sure, he hit a 3 here. He had some nice passes for assists to other guys. But perception-wise, if you're just looking at it, you don't see the box score. You would probably say Koloko won that matchup against Vucevic last night. So, hey, and there was a little bit of bullying where he pushed him around down low, which I expected. but it was minimized and it wasn't too bad. There were a couple plays where Vucevic did use his size on Koloko down low and he beat him. But for the most part, he did really well against them. Jimmy Pope's laughing out loud. I hope this. I love that. I love that. Mary Jane's here. Oh yeah, Mary Jane. Do you love me, Mary Jane? Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you think you love me, Mary Jane? Don't you play no game? All right, Mary Jane saying with Siakam out, we could very well see OG turn into a freaking monster, like from Space Jam. Let's see. Mason Culligan saying, I don't want us to give up our core for KD. Don't believe the hype. I love KD as a player, but I'm not willing on giving up the people we have put time into. We can see at times our guys have stepped up. Really would be. Do you want KD or do you want OG and Gary? It's really going to be like that. Like that is going to be the decision in January that the Raptors nation and the management is going to have to think about. Like, would you really rather have Kevin Durant or would you really rather have O.G.Anunoby and Gary Trent together? Because that is really that's the deal. And that is what it will be if it happens in January. I'm going to tell you that right now. It may be a draft pick also, but it'll be those two guys and a draft pick going to Brooklyn and Kevin Durant coming back here. Now, you think about the pieces going which way and would you do it? I don't know. I think I might be with Mason Culligan. Stick with you guys. Why do we want old snake? Why do we want salt and pepper wings? We may not want salt and pepper wings on this menu. We got salt and pepper wings from Spain. We got the pollo wings, the pollo agoyo or whatever. All right, let's see. Jimmy's saying not hating on the Cavs, but the only good team they have beaten is the Celtics and one against the Bulls. If you think they're good, kind of funny people are gassing them up. Oh no, they want this. And we went against the plan for this, Jimmy. They really wanted them to lose. Us to lose to them on the opening night. They had scheduled that loss. They were hoping the Raptors would be a little off and that Cleveland could surprise us. In fact, they sent a ref crew that felt like that they were trying to do a hit job and help the Cavs win the first game of the season. Well, they didn't go according to plan. And that kind of fucked them up because that's the only loss they've had this season is to us. And they kind of wanted them to be perfect because they want this storyline that Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs is just such a glorious, great combination. And they're just, all this and this and this. I think you're right, Jimmy. I love your comment. I don't think you're hating on the Cavs. I think you're being realistic. They beat the Boston Celtics. That's a great accomplishment. I won't poo-poo that. But who else have they fucking played? And when they played us, what happened? We beat their ass. So people better be putting some fucking respect on the Raptors in this way, like they're doing the Cavs right now, because we beat them. They have one loss. We hung them with the L. And who else has this year? Nobody else. So put that respect on the Raptors for this. I'm with you, Jimmy Pope, and you are not hating. This is just reality. You are in Project Truth. Welcome. Let's see. This is a weird symbol. I've never seen this symbol before, and I appreciate you being here. So I'm just going to say the symbol. You're like Prince. You're the symbol. Everyone gets a break, but Scotty, why isn't the team cautious with him? He looks hurt. Okay, there's two things happening here. Scotty's crazy. Scotty doesn't want to leave. He could be barely able to walk, and he will want to still be in the game. He's just that much kind of baller. He just wants to be out there. In fact, he hates being on the bench. He would play the whole 48 minutes if he'd let him. So it's really because he's so young, and he's already shown an ability to bounce back from injury really quickly. And it may be that we see him hurt. Like the part of it is he's very expressive with his face. You may see him pain and wince, and he may be hurt in that moment, but it may be something that's very temporary, like getting hit in the nuts. Oh, it hurts for 5 minutes, but then he's fine like a couple minutes later. He really does have youth and a crazy genes, a crazy athleticism in his favor. That when he got his leg stepped on by Joel in the playoffs, a normal person would be out for like 3 months after that. Well, he was out for a week, and then he even came back and played in that series still before it was over. And he probably shouldn't have because he was not fully ready then. And you're right. Maybe we should worry about him. But it's really kind of the thing where they're like asking him, like the other day when people were saying, maybe he shouldn't play in this game. He should wait another game and not come back. Well, he was probably telling Nick, I want to play me. And it's him being that kind of guy who's like, I don't give a shit how hurt I am. I want to be out there. So they got to kind of hold him back from wanting to be on the court. And that's part of it is that his inertia is like, I want to be out there. I don't care how hurt I am. My ankle's fine. And you ask him how his ankle is in his twitch, he'll always say, oh, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm perfect. They ask him in the interviews after the game, oh, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So we see him or perceive him in the games. Oh, he looks like he's hurt. Or he's hurt. He may not actually be hurt. We may think he's hurt, but he's not. And I don't think he's hurt right now. And I don't understand why everybody said, okay, he left the court last night at the end of the game, looked like he was hobbling a little bit. Well, maybe he just turned his ankle a little bit at that moment and he was just hobbling then. He woke up this morning and everything's perfectly fine today. So we got to really give the benefit of the doubt to a young person and how quickly they can heal and bounce back, especially when they're a super athlete like Scott Barnes is. So, yeah, that's my reply to that symbol. And thank you for being here. Nameless is saying, I can't stand playing DeMar with unethical points. Guy just dives and flops all game for free throws. So tiring. Nameless, come on. He's grandfathered. Oh, I shouldn't say. He's a made man in the whole history of the Raptors. We love him. If he wants to do that, he can be that guy. I don't like Embiid doing that. I don't like Harden doing that. But DeMar, he's one of ours. Let him do his thing. I can't hate on him. And it may look unethical, as you put it. It may look like this, but this is a crude time. All the years that he didn't get foul calls playing for the Raptors, he's getting his get back now. That he gets the veteran calls because he's earned them over the years of them not giving him any veteran calls. Well, he's a veteran now, so he should get those calls. And he would be stupid not to utilize that ability to get to the line and be a part of his game. Now, he didn't really do that last night. He barely got to the line last night. He was 6 for 6 from the field. And that's going from like 20 attempts on the free throw line against the Celtics on Friday night. So we didn't put him on the line, and he wasn't flopping around or doing his thing too much like a James Harden or a Joel Embiid. But if he's going to do that stuff, I don't mind him doing that. I love DeMar. Let him do what he's doing. All right, Monique saying, don't make Vucevic get hot. How we did good on him last night? Yeah, he got a couple threes that we left him wide open for, but otherwise he could have been way more dangerous to us and more of a factor in the game. And he was a factor, and he did do stuff, but it wasn't too bad. Mason saying, as always, thanks you guys, Raptors family and Freak Nation. Love the question and Lex input. Really, nothing compares to this on YouTube. Great job. All right. Thank you, Mason. Big W for you. And I appreciate that. And let's get a big W tonight. Mike's saying, great stream today. Really solid Oreo back-to-back game stream. Oreo big stuff, baby. Mega stuff. I seen on the grocery store online, they have like mega-sized Oreos. It's not even double stuff. I think it's like quadruple-size Oreo cookies now. It's crazy. Crazy. Patrick Douglas saying, definitely doing 905 games this year. They might be having growing pains, not being together for long. Sure. Oh, it's Delano's birthday today. Happy birthday, Delano Band, number 45 Bus, Rexdale's finest. You're our native son, Toronto son. We love you, Delano. You go. Hopefully you get to play in the game tonight, even though you didn't play last night, because it's your birthday. Let's get Delano out there, Nick Nurse, for his. Thank you, Isaac, for letting us know that's going on. And yeah, definitely watch the 905. You can go to 905 games, go and support them. It's a great place to go see young talent coming up in the NBA. You go down there and see Jeff Doughton. Maybe you'll see Koloko down there. Maybe. I don't know. Mike is saying we're increasing his role a lot this year, asking him to do more. He will figure it out and peak in the second half like last year is the plan with him. He needs skill training with his elite body. Okay, I don't know who you're talking about, Mike. Maybe you're talking about Precious. Maybe you're talking about Scotty. I'm not totally sure. Monique is saying, ever since day one, I noticed a new follower, Lex. Keep at it. Learning for me, it was W Stream. Let's go. Thank you, Monique. I appreciate you. And honestly, you being here is a huge, huge plus to my channel because you're a bona fide super fan in the Raptors Freak Nation. You are somebody who has been in the spotlight and a part of the Raptors community. And having you here, you're like a celebrity. You're like Nav. And I really appreciate that you're here with us. I really, really do. And I love that this is a format where you can express yourself and be with us and say what you have to say, because your insight is always so on point. And we love you, Monique. You keep going. She's also saying 21 Savage is the best on the album. Way to go, Drake. Yeah, they really fit well together. Like the way that they're kind of, this is me getting in my music stuff. The way that they kind of tag off each other on that album is really good because 21 Savage has a certain approach to how he does things. And Drake's kind of lurking behind and then he'll just jump in. And I love that Drake's not doing too much sing-songy on this new album, that he really is doing bars. Because in the last one, he was really kind of, it was more ambient. It was like he's kind of more singing than he was rapping. And honestly, never mind. And now in this new one, he's actually spitting rhymes and putting bars together instead of just like kind of he's more like, you know, I like that better about Drake. I don't mind the easy listening Drake, like, you know, the vibes Drake, but he is really best when he's put some words together that really sound good with the beats and the rhyme, and that it's interesting what he says, because like many hip hop artists, you know, what you put in the words, and this is what's happening in the last couple of days since this album came out. There's a lot of double entendres. There's a lot of inner meaning to some of this stuff, and everybody's speculating about, whoa, is he talking about this person or this person, and what is he actually saying in this, and is this actually a burn or a compliment? There's a lot of that going on, and that's the genius of a wordsmith and somebody that writes lyrics, that they can be interpreted in so many different ways, and that is a big respect to Drake. Once again, our global ambassador and part of our nation. So talking about his album is totally within our realm of things, because this is Raptors stuff, Drake's album. And they love the album. The players have been listening to it like crazy. They had it at morning shoot around the day after it came out. They were playing it the whole time they were there, and you could just see them all grooving to it. And they're all posting it on their Instagram too. So they all highly approve of it, the Raptors players. Let's see. Mike saying homeworked Mitchell on the Cavs, and I saw a pylon on D, and since missing rotations and deer in the headlights look a lot. Not knowing where to go, they hide him in the corner. He's lateral bat speed is bad. This is all good information. I like that Mike scouts this kind of stuff. You know, the hype right now is that Mitchell's seamlessly just fitting in with the Cavs, and then he can play defense this year. Well, Mike's gone and looked, and he sees something a little different than what they're trying to say, that he's a pylon, that he really hasn't increased his defense in some ways. And maybe the twin towers of Mobley and Allen can cover up his deficiencies on the defensive end a little bit better. And they can just magically say, oh, Donovan's playing defense this year, finally, that he didn't play in Utah. Well, I believe you more than I believe their hype machine in Project Truth. I will believe you that you went and looked at it, and you're really looking at him and you see a pylon. Well, I tend to agree with this, because usually guys don't get that much better at defense late in their career. It's either you have the gumption and you go do it, or you're never going to find that dog in you at some point if you just don't have it. So, all right, I believe Mike over what they're saying in the NBA media down south, because they're just going to go, oh, he's so good, and stuff like that. And they're not maybe looking at the whole reality of it like Mike is. Randolph is saying, blessings to all our beloved Raptor freaks. Another good win. Thank you, Randolph Phillips, for the daily blessings. We appreciate you and what you do when you come in here. Bless us. I do feel an extra blessing whenever I see Randolph Phillips comment in our stream. Monique saying, well done on 3 hours yet again. Oh my gosh, Adriana's going to kill me. All right, Precious. Yeah, Precious. There you go. Precious, defense and rebounding. Concentrate on that. His offense will come later. Yeah, you were talking about Precious. Okay, good. And you're saying also the Lakers were abusing that and only scoring when he was on the court. Interesting. Yeah, because they just played. And Cleveland did win this game eventually, but the Lakers were doing well against them early on. In fact, they were cheering Russell Westbrook in LA. It's come full circle. Now the Laker fans are like, we love you, Russell, all of a sudden. You know, I have a very interesting tweet that I saw LeBron James put out in the last 24 hours. This is very interesting. You know, LeBron started to watch Flagrant Foul, Untold Flagrant Foul, the Tim Donaghy story, the one that we covered this summer, talked about it. It's on Netflix. It's the Untold series, the Tim Donaghy Flagrant Foul story. LeBron started watching it, apparently. He tweeted that he watched the first 20 minutes of the show and he had to turn it off. And this was his reasoning. He said, I don't want to have something in my head because of this. And he sees the ugliness and the stupid shit about Tim Donaghy and the referee scandal, and he sees the real world implications about how the referees are, the whole part with Michael Jordan, the part with Allen Iverson in that documentary. And he's probably applying it to his real world knowledge of being an NBA player for 20 years and all the things he's been through with this. And it's probably like something I don't even want to know this, because it's going to make it hard for me to play in this game and not get technicals and be pissed off at the refs, because now I know how dirty they are from watching this Tim Donaghy Untold Flagrant Foul documentary on Netflix. This is what LeBron said. I turned it off 20 minutes in. I'm not going to watch it until I retire. He does not want to watch the whole complete thing because he doesn't want to know the truth about the referees, because it will influence how he plays the rest of his NBA career, knowing just how fucked up they are. I thought that was so interesting that LeBron James tweeted that. I watched the first 20 minutes of Flagrant Foul, the Tim Donaghy story, and I had to turn it off. And I won't watch it until after I retire the rest of it. That's pretty smart by him. And in fact, that's the kind of smartness that Kyrie should probably follow it. LeBron in some ways, that he understands this may really change things in how he plays on the court with the referees, because he now understands more about them and it pisses him off. So that was really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. Mason saying future star center Koloko. Culligan. I was going to call you the future star. 100 Koloko 100. Also, all I'm saying is I like Leonard better than KD, because Leonard is a player who changes the whole team. KD has not proven to be that type of guy. Scotty will be. So if you're picking between Durant and Kawhi Leonard, you pick Kawhi Leonard. I agree with this. And part of it is because Kawhi Leonard has such good skills on the defensive end. Yeah, so you're not for a KD sweepstakes and him coming to Toronto and wearing the Raptor red. I can get behind that. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I can see where it could really make us a champion this year. We get Kevin Durant. But I can also see the folly in it and how it could be a big fuck up in getting him. In some ways, I kind of want to play it safe and just go with what we know already. That is really what we're going to be weighing with this. And this noise is not going to go away. In fact, it's going to get amplified and be even more crazy around January, because that's when it will actually be realistically able to happen. So be ready for more KD shit coming to Toronto. It's just going to happen around New Year's. Mike saying Russ was eating on Mitchell in the post and off the dribble. Awesome. I love to hear that. Patrick Douglas saying Drake isn't a rapper. He wants to be categorized as a musical entertainer of all genres. Hence, Nevermind album was for a different cohort of fans. Precious needs to attack the rim. There's a lot in there by Patrick. I agree with this. He's a performer, and that's what he does. Oh, you know what? I've gone so long, my groceries are here. All right, I need to log off, guys. We could talk more music and more stuff. Yes, Precious should attack the rim. I'm with that. Stay young. Yes, thank you, Mason Culligan. I appreciate y'all. Great win last night by the Raptors. Just real quick recap. Good job, Fred VanVleet, coming back, shutting up your slanderers. And tonight, our ref crew is Eric Lewis, Jason Goebel, and John Butler. Should be pretty good ref crew. They're better than last night. The injuries are pretty much the same from yesterday. Justin Champagnie, Kem Birch, Pascal Siakam out for the Raptors. And on the other side, we may see Zach LaVine tonight. I don't know. We'll have to see. Kobe White, Lonzo Ball, and Andre Drummond all out for sure. Well, thanks for joining me this morning for this marathon 3-hour reaction to last night and preview for tonight. Let's go Raptors. Let's win this game tonight, right? Let's get this win, right? Justin Bieber? Right, guys. I really believe in the Raptors. After 10 games, we've won 6 games, and we're very good. Believe in our Canadian content and our Canadian team. It's very, very good. I love them. Let's go Raptors. And subscribe to the Raptor Free channel. All right. He didn't sun me. Thank you. All right, y'all. Have a great Monday, and let's enjoy another great victory in Chicago for the Raptors. Let's go. Subscribe. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's go Raptors.